Welcome to the Pow Wow with Mayra, where each week we bring you an inspiring person and their stories to help us discover different ways to see life and its challenges. My focus sits on being thoughtful, engaging, and entertaining. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Are we good to go?
Yeah, we're rolling.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. We've been rolling for like 3 minutes at this point.
Very cool.
Cool.
All right, Mr. Lawyer Escobar. Why a lawyer?
Why a lawyer? I don't know.
When was that born?
I think it was all born because of Jeanette. She is, older than me, and she's always been like a role model. So ever since I can remember, or ever since I have memory, she was, in law school in Mexico, and she was always somebody that I looked up to, and I was like, I want to be like her someday. And I think that's the very first thing that comes to mind. And when I came here, I knew I wanted to do something that was, purposeful and something that, I felt good about. And I think I'm getting there.
Well, you have your law degree.
Right.
Already, and you're practicing how long now? Over a year?
A year and a couple of months. I got my license October of last year, October 13th to be exact. So it's been a minute, I guess. It feels like it was yesterday. You're just caught up in the moment, working every day, and it just goes by very, very quickly. I just can't believe it's been over a year.
Wow.
At this point.
I can't believe.
I know,
I
right?
remember we were just like celebrating, and I was talking to Yvette about like what to do, right? So
Right.
That was pretty cool. So you looked up to Jeanette. Why did you look up to Jeanette? What about her made you look up to her? And Jeanette being your older sister. How older is Jeanette than you are?
I don't know. I want to say 15 years, give or take.
15-year difference?
Yeah, it's a big gap. But I don't know. She's, always been there. Both of my sisters, right? But Jeanette was, there. Brenda got married when I was like 5, so I don't have a whole lot of memories with Brenda, like living with her actually. So Jeanette was always there, and she would take us to the movies. We would just go out for ice cream, and she was like always very involved, and she was always very responsible, very very nice overall. So when I knew that she was a lawyer and what she was doing, and she would tell me about what she was doing, and talk about the cases that she was handling and this and that, and I thought it was interesting. So just having somebody like that really just made me want to be somebody like her, basically.
Wow. That's very thoughtful and very interesting, because there's still something about her, because even though I feel like there's still something about her that what does she do every day that inspired you? Because your mom was there and your brother was there, and it sounds like your older brother was. Jeanette just had a much bigger impact, even that your brother, which he's in between you two.
Right.
Right. So what would you say? What like values did Jeanette show that you maybe adopted?
I don't know. Well, probably the biggest one is just being disciplined and persevere. Just always, no matter what's going on around you, just give it all your best, and keep your head up. If you fall 5 or 6 times, you get up 7 or 8 times. So just always keep on going, keep on pushing, and that's sort of been my motto, if you would. Because I get asked sometimes. They tell me, you got here when you were 15 or so. You're a lawyer now, like 12 years later or so, which is relatively a short period of time. And people are like, oh, you must be so smart and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't consider myself a a very, very intelligent person. I mean, you got to have some brains, right? But I think it's more than anything the work that you put in day in and day out. At the end of the day, what really makes or break a person. So that's really what I take out of it.
And you mentioned discipline. What does discipline mean to you? Because I feel like, especially nowadays, a lot of these big words are watered down, and like people have developed their own different kind of like meaning of like discipline. Like, oh, well, I show up to work, right? Like,
Right.
and so on time, and Sue over here is late all the time, and so but then you have other people like David Goggins, that his version of discipline is like something completely crazy and different. So like what's your definition of discipline? Like if you consider yourself disciplined, or somebody else that you look up to?
I think, I mean, it sort of goes. I mean, I think there's a foundational definition of discipline that you can find in the dictionary, right? But I think for me, when I set a goal and when I think about something I want to do, like a big goal, like for instance, going to law school, I set that goal and I know that there are going to be a lot of obstacles in between. And I know that there are going to be times where I'm not going to want to get up, or I'm not going to want to do it for whatever reason. And I think, being a truly disciplined person is going to get you through all that, no matter what. And you just have to know that from the get-go. You just have to, be in that mindset that, life is going to throw you curveballs left and right, and just have to be prepared for those days. And when it happens, I mean, just feel it. Just feel the moment. Know that it's going to happen, but just be prepared to punch back, basically. And for me, again, just to encompass what discipline is for me is you set a goal. You know there's going to be a lot of stuff in between, but no matter what, you're just going to keep on pushing, and you're just going to, get it done at the end of the day. And I mean that applies in a lot of aspects of life, not just any will.
That's pretty like spot on. I think that that maybe one of the issues is setting a goal, maybe even nowadays. And you mentioned about there's going to be obstacles, and I think nowadays a lot of people, it's like, oh, I have a goal, but they want to skip that whole obstacle thing you just spoke about, that you in your head that you have to like understand that's going to happen, and that you have to push through. Right. And I feel like nowadays, and I've even caught myself, like wanting a goal, and then like kind of like when I get to really think about it, I'm like, I just want to jump. I just want the result. Like, I don't want to put myself through the journey, right? The one that you just talked about. Because once you do actually break it down, and you're like, okay, this is my goal. These are probably going to be my obstacles, at least, right? Because these are known obstacles, and who knows what else is going to come. So at least it's that. So you're mentally preparing and knowing that you're going to have to get pushed through.
Right.
And so I think that was spot on and key.
Yeah.
And key, because I've thought about that.
It's about just sort of visualizing what the end goal is, and again, just realizing that life is not perfect, right? Yeah, there are days when you get up and you're just like, heck, I mean, I don't really want to do anything. I really don't even want to, brush my teeth this morning. It's just little things like that. And again, you have to be prepared for those rainy days where things just compound, one thing after the other. And you just have to be ready for those, because something is going to happen along the way, whether it be at work, your personal life, whatever have you. And I think just having that mental strength to know that that's going to happen, and that you're going to feel probably like crap whenever that happens, it's okay. I mean, just feel the moment and deal with it.
Feel the moment.
Feel the moment.
Wow.
Like a grown adult, basically.
So when you were in your journey and you had these days that were difficult sometimes, or just, they were just like tough, and you had to push through, what went through your head? Like what was your talk? Like which voice did you listen to?
It's weird, and Yvette's not gonna let me lie about this. I Whenever I'm going through tough times, I shut down. I try to shut down my other emotions. I just try to, you know, deal with the problem at hand and not think about, you know, really how this is gonna make me feel later or whatnot, or whether I can do it or not. I mean, I just try to fix the problem. I just whatever that might be. Just hands on, disconnect my other emotions for a moment when I'm actually trying to fix the problem, right? And then just go right after it. I mentioned a moment ago that you have to feel the moment. There's times where you just feel bad about whatever the case might be. Feel bad about it, yes. Suck it up. I mean, do whatever you need to do, but just get back up and get down to business, right? Get it fixed, get it done. Just push from there.
So you go into fix mode.
Yes, 100%.
So would you say, but that's even in your hard days? Like you go to fix mode, like what goes through your mind? Like is still after that, because you're having a tough day, you literally just go to task?
No, not literally, not right away, right? I think it's
Like what gets you from that tough day to moving?
I think once again, you have to feel whatever's going on. I think that's key. You have to let yourself.
What do you do to connect with yourself or to feel? Where is Ivan?
Again, just let emotions run, not for too long. I think that's the key. Feel whatever you need to feel, but don't let that drag, and don't let that control your actions. Right. Mm-hmm. So my way to fix things, if you would, or my way to approach a problem or something that goes wrong, again, whether it be life, work, personal, whatever have you, just feel it, feel bad about it, feel good about it, whatever the emotion is, just feel it, let that sink in. Once you let that sink in, you have to detach yourself from that feeling.
Okay.
And detach yourself from that feeling, go into fix mode, and just think objectively. Think about whatever it is that you need to do to get that problem fixed, and then just move from there. Look for solutions. Talk to whoever you need to talk to. Reach out to your resources, and then just get it done.
Wow.
So that's really the long and short of it. And that's how I try to approach, most things, whether it be, something as simple as, getting your carpet replaced because your original quote didn't work out as good as you thought it would be for whatever reason, as something as, having a bad day at work and just, really bouncing back from that. I think also I think we talked about this at some point. You can't really feel that you are at the very top or at the very bottom. Because if you have such emotions like up and down, you're just going to drive yourself crazy, right? So you just have to take everything with a grain of salt. Just live your life thinking that if you do something that didn't go as expected, and just don't have a good day at work, you're not the worst employee in the world. Whether you're flipping burgers or the CEO of Amazon, I mean, just take it one day at a time, and then just persevere. Just bring your head back up and just do it again. Try it again.
When did you develop this system of like understanding how to feel the moment and then detach from that and then get to work? Like it sounds like you just developed a system that, sounds like it's working for you.
Yeah.
Well, in some sense. When did you develop this, or how did you develop this, or where did you pick it up from?
I really don't know. I never thought about it, but
Or what moment made you maybe think like, oh, I messed up on this. Like I need to, like maybe was there a moment where maybe a situation?
I can't like pinpoint a situation, and I think you can also vouch for this. I've since I was a kid, just like doing homework. Back when I was in elementary school, you used to go visit me. I had sort of a priority list of stuff or tasks that I needed to get done. And as a kid, probably at the top of your list is just go out and play, play ball or play with your friends or go to the park, whatever have you. But for me, it was get whatever I needed to get done first, get your homework done first, and then go and enjoy yourself and do whatever it is that you find pleasure in afterwards. But get that done first. As far as the mechanism to fix things, for lack of a better phrasing, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, it's just something that I guess was developed over time, and maybe law school really like wires your brain to basically fix problems as they come to you. And shows you that life is not like fluid and that everything goes according to plan. So you have to be prepared for the unexpected. So that really, I think, honed in that skill, if you would. Just have to be prepared for whatever comes. I mean, basic example is you're in class with 50 other kids and the professor all of a sudden calls on you, right? And you're not really expecting it. And that's the whole point of it. I mean, the whole point is you go to class, you better be prepared. If you're not prepared, the professor is going to grill you, and that doesn't feel very good. So you're just kind of on high alert mode every time, and you just have to be up for the task as well. I mean, if you didn't get you were not as prepared as you would have liked, you get called on, you start to get creative, right? You start to find solutions. You start to just get creative at the end of the day, and that's really something that I think law school really helps with. Again, it just rewires your brain in sort of a way that it helps you solve problems on the spot, but it also helps you to be prepared for whatever's coming.
To plan ahead.
And also be prepared for the, for any emergency that might pop up along the way. But
Wow. Yeah. I think planning ahead is such a thing. I've been thinking about that lately because Logan is such a planner, and I watch
Dude, he
him,
is.
and like it's like I see that as I see when he plans, and then as he's moving, he's like zooming. But I think it's because like he's already played this through his head probably once, twice, or three times as he's planning it. So by the time he does it, it's already like the sixth, seventh, eighth time.
right.
And then like he learns so fast that then everything just kind of like compounds into like much faster. But I was as I've been trying to even have people here on the podcast or just schedule time with people, I've really found the lack of planning that people have, including myself, and I'm working on that actually, because I feel like the further you can plan ahead, like, and the better you get ahead. And it starts with the small habits. You mentioned sometimes you don't even want to like wash, your teeth in the morning. Sometimes we feel that way because we just kind of, it's just a shit day.
It's human nature. At
You
the end
know,
of the day as well.
Yeah. And so, but it's a habit, right? And then you get up
Right.
and you just wash them anyways. And then, but it's like those tiny habits that compound. You mentioned earlier too about like compounding, and that's what I was thinking like immediately, because I think that is key. And I'm so amazed that I know that you're so disciplined, but I didn't really think of you like as such a good planner like that, which makes sense, right? I mean, you mentioned like you plan it ahead and then you just kind of do it, and not only that, like you stay like focused.
Right. Which is the hard part a lot of times, right?
Right.
It's just you set a goal, and again, stuff happens along the way, and just
Did you learn to plan all on your own, or did somebody tell you, hey, you need to plan ahead? Like I tell my siblings now, like, you guys have to plan ahead, and I try to tell them because I feel like this is all new to me in a way,
Right.
like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like, so I'm like, hey guys, plan ahead, because especially them, that they're so young.
Sure.
So for you, but I'm looking right for this information. You, though, I am curious to know how you adopted it. Is it just natural? You just been like that?
mean,
Because some people are just.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I am a natural planner. That would not be a true statement. I am also working on it every day. I try to do it to the best of my abilities, but I also can't think of somebody who was like, you have to do X, Y, and Z in the next 5 years or so. It's just like I tell you that now. I mean, let's think about our 5-year plan, our 10-year plan, our 15-year plan. But it's something that I guess you pick up along the way. You just associate with the right people. I had a lot of great professors when I started high school here. Great professors in my undergraduate, same with law school. So again, it's all about picking and choosing the people that you associate with, and you just try to cherry pick those good traits, right? You just try to incorporate those into your life. But that's about it. I mean, when I came here, I remember when I first came here to the U.S. to like live here permanently, if you would. I remember they did an English test. It was at, I think it was called the Newcomer Center, or here in Arlington. Forget what the streets are, but they did a basic English test, right? I remember it was scored from 1 through 5. I scored 2 on that test because I didn't speak very much English.
How old were you?
I was about to turn 15, or was 15 already, but it was right around that time.
How'd you feel?
Dude, I felt nervous as heck. I mean, just walking into a room where, people just look different, and you're just a teenager, don't speak the language. It's just very frightening to walk into that room, right? And somebody's giving you a test.
A test?
You look at the words and you can pick out 1 or 2 because you watched, Friends growing up or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. It's frightening. But again, I scored a 2 out of 5. And after that, I remember the counselor lady, or whoever that lady was, she asked me if I wanted to basically go to a regular high school, such as, Sam Houston High School, or if I wanted to stay at that. It was called the Newcomer Center. I forget the exact name of the school. But it was basically like a bilingual school where, half of your classes are taught in Spanish and the other half are taught in English, and, that sort of scenario. She was like, you can do that, which is, what most people do, especially scoring a 2 out of a 5. Sorry. Or you can just go to a regular high school. I mean, you'll obviously be in the ESL program, and you'll just probably learn a little faster because you're going to be immersed in the culture much faster. And I remember thinking to myself as a 14, 15-year-old, like, what's the reason that I'm here, right? I remember that moment.
Wow.
I remember the face of the lady. Don't remember her name. I remember the face of the lady. Remember the room I was in. I remember it was very, very cold inside. It was hot outside. It was like during the summer or so, but it was cold in the room. And I thought, what do I want to get out of this? And I was like, I want to learn English. That's why I'm here, right? And I don't want to just dabble and just fool around. I'm like, that's not what I'm here for.
You weren't there to fuck around.
No, not at all. So as much as I wanted to be in a comfortable place, such as, that bilingual high school where, I knew I was going to make friends and talk, Spanish all day and just kind of be in a more safe environment, if you would. As much as I wanted that, I knew that that's not what I wanted in the long run. So I was like, let's just go to the regular high school. And, it just went from there. I've always been a very shy person, or a quiet person, let's just put it that way. But can you imagine a 15-year-old in a high school, in a totally foreign environment? It just felt very, very frightening. And again, it was like that for the first 6 months, or maybe the first year, where I was just listening to people talk. I would pick up a word here and there, but I would always pay attention to what they were saying, and just try to put some context into it. Same as far as reading. I think we were talking earlier during dinner that when I would read something, I would just spend a shit ton of time reading one page. That's because I couldn't make sense out of everything that was being that was written in that page. But I picked out the words that I didn't know or understand, looked them up in the dictionary, go back, put some context into it, and just make sense out of it. And again, it would take me, forever to do my homework or whatnot. Wow. Or just a very simple high school, task.
What grade?
10th. I was a sophomore when I started here, I would say.
They put you in sophomore.
Yeah, sophomore year.
Okay, 10th grade.
Yeah. So there was that. It was scary. It was frightening, and I remember what was it called? The test, the standardized test.
The STAR test.
Now it's called the STAR. It used to be called something different.
It was
the tax test.
Yes.
I was terrified of that test.
Really?
I was like, there is no way in heaven that I am gonna pass that test. No, I'm serious. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna pass that. I mean, I can barely read and write. And lo and behold, I took it during my junior year. I think that's when they start, giving it to you, right?
Yeah.
Junior year.
If you don't pass them, you take them on your senior. If you pass them, you don't take them on your senior year.
Right. Yeah. So I put a shit ton of time into studying that, and yeah, it's a standardized test, but I passed all 4 of them. There were 4, right?
Mm-hmm. There was there's 4.
Math, social studies, science, and reading, something like that. I passed all 4, and I got a high enough grade in social studies and some other one that it got me, I don't know, what do you call it, honors or something.
Honors.
Yeah, so there's that. Again, it's all about, setting your goal, and just kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier, right? Mm-hmm. And where did I pick that up? I don't know. Because
I remember, I would go to Mexico for during our summer and Christmas vacation every year for as long as I can remember, and we would land at your house first, and I was ready to play. Right, I'm on vacation mode, right? But over there, you guys still had a few days of school. And so I would say, hey, Ivan, let's go play. It would be or let's play Nintendo. We'd play a lot of Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo. And it would be no. Literally. Straight up. You would say no. I got to finish my homework. And I remember thinking, this dude. All right, man, I'll be waiting for you, and get a head start, and then you would come later once you were done. I remember that, so vividly because it impacted me, I feel because I remember, I see it in we talked about pictures earlier and thinking, I see it in my head when I would be come on, Ivan, and your handwriting, you can't even understand what you were writing.
You still can't understand it.
It was squiggle. I'm all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do remember that discipline for as long as I can remember. Seriously. And that's so crazy. Yeah, I'm still struggling with that.
Yeah, and again, it just stuck around, and it's just one of those things that just sticks around, and it's just part of your personality, is part of who you are. Mm-hmm. And once again, have to associate with the right people. Yeah. Speaking of associating with the right people, you got Logan. Logan is, a great parent. He's a great husband. All the things that I hear about him are just great. He's a great cook as well. We just had a very nice steak.
You guys are really stoking my ego on this one.
No, seriously.
Seriously. So again, it's just
I don't even know how. I feel like I need to like pay the world back because I have Logan.
Yeah.
Like it's like, how do I deserve him?
No doubt about that. And again, with Yvette, I mean, she's great. I mean, can't say enough.
Yes, I agree.
How much she's helped me along the way, how much she's grown over the last 3 to 4 years.
Man,
How
she
long
is
have you been
coming next
3-4 years
to the podcast. Seriously.
So yeah, I mean, she's been great. I mean,
She's a warrior.
yeah. She was, I mean, think about this, right? And maybe she'll talk about this later, and I don't want to talk for her. But I mean, similar to me, came here as a 15-year-old. She came here as a 20-something-year-old, but she was a teacher already. I mean, she had her life, set basically.
Her career.
So leaving that all behind, and then just sort of starting, with a clean slate here. I mean, it's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
So
All for love.
as an immigrant, as an immigrant, you have to appreciate those things. So she's been great.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, she's definitely have such a good story, and I've told her like she's even an inspiration to me because it's like you think about like some like sometimes reasons not to do this, or like, oh, I'm so shy because of this, or oh, this is hard, but then like you see, not only you hear or read, but you see and you're around the energy of people that just come and humble down and figure it out and are not afraid to start from scratch.
Right.
And all their mindset is just learn. Like, I'm here to learn. And I think that is so huge because they open their mind, and they battle those fears. So they're really refining their character and they're growing versus saying, no, I'm just gonna like sit here and just rely on my husband. And, I'll settle for cleaning the dishes,
Right.
At home.
Right.
And I'll just be a housewife. She's like, no, I'm here to learn and be better, not than anyone else, but than herself, and
Right.
I think, you can say the same thing because we've talked about this, and, I won't spoil it for later, but it's similar mindset as what we're talking about right now. Just that warrior mentality. So you're 13, 14 when you come here, and you go to Sam Houston High School as a sophomore.
Right.
And you are fresh, and who do you leave behind?
Yvette. We were. Funny thing is, we met when we were 14. I think we were in. Would it be like 8th grade or something? But met her. We started dating. And then 3 months later, I come here. So
3 months later.
3 months later.
Wow, I didn't know it was that fast.
Yeah, it was that fast. So I was like, there's probably no way this is gonna work out. But back in the day, we had those phone cards. I bought a phone card and then called her on a Wednesday, and then every other day after that, and it went on for
Every other Wednesday.
every other day after
Every
that
other
Wednesday.
day.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it was, we just kind of took it from there. We found out that we were a match for sure. And then that's it took off from there.
How did you know it was a match?
I don't know. It's just that genuine conversation you have, right? I mean, you just sort of feel it. It's gonna sound a little cheesy, but you just know it when you know it. I mean, you know she's the person that you enjoy having long conversations with. You hardly ever, stop having something to talk about, and it's just you just feel it, and that's how it all went.
What did you like about her, or what did you like about her? Like,
she made me laugh. I like people who make me laugh. So she she just made me laugh a lot, and I just enjoy.
She makes me laugh.
Yeah, yeah, she's kind of funny sometimes. No, but that and just a lovely person overall. I mean, I left her behind. A ton of friends. I mean, you're in middle school, so you just have a ton of friends left and right, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna come back soon in 6 months, and I'm gonna be back for good. But that never happened.
So you did think you were going to be back.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna be back. I was like, and that it just sort of goes back to what I was saying earlier, right? When I took that test and got a 2 out of a 5, I was here for a year or so. And my goal was like, I want to learn English. I mean, I'm here. I'm not going to waste time. I'm here to better myself in a way. Just learn English, be more marketable. I was thinking about going back to school, just kind of like, finish college there and then just live my life. But it just never happened. And I'm glad. I'm very glad. I mean, I'm very glad where I am right now. I'm very fortunate as well in many, many ways. So I just can't thank God enough for, where I am right now.
Yeah. Do you still stay in touch with your friends out there?
Not anymore. Just with one or two every so often, but I just don't visit enough or as frequent as I used to. So I really don't, not anymore.
Would you say that you adapted to this lifestyle much faster than you imagined, or did it take you longer than you imagined?
I think it took me a couple of years for sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, when I was in high school, I felt like I was totally outside of my element, and I felt like what I was doing was, I just wasn't enjoying it, really. I mean, it was, I felt good because I was learning a new skill set, right? I was learning a new skill set, and I knew at the end of the day, this was going to help me one way or the other, but I really wasn't just enjoying it. It wasn't until like, my college years or so that I was like, okay, this feels good.
Oh, wow, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Geez, what made that disconnect? What do you think was the disconnect? Did you miss the people, the culture, your home?
I think so. I mean, just think about it, right? Imagine just going to France, tomorrow, unplanned, because that's how it was for me.
Unplanned.
Yes, it was like
who planned it for you?
It was my family in general. It was like
well,
Jeanette,
you are
everybody
I guess,
else.
Underage.
Yeah, so it was like, it's going to happen. It's just going to be for a little bit, and we'll be back. But again, just imagine going to France, not speaking the language, just listening to this foreign language where you're like, oh boy, what am I doing here? And then just adjusting to that. So it was obviously the culture shock, the language, the leaving people behind, all that. It was hard, obviously, which I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. But once again, it's all about responding to it. Again, it took me a little bit of time, and then once I got into the groove, I was good.
So at night, when you were hugging your pillow was probably some of the darkest moments, as it is. I think.
Yeah.
What would you say?
No doubt. It was just hard. Again, it was just like.
What would you?
Again, it goes back. I remember, those moments, and it goes back to planning. What I was thinking about was like, shit. I feel horrible, right? I'm not in my element. I'm not doing what I want to do, but at the same time, what am I going to do tomorrow? Like, let's just start, thinking about Mr. Kopetsky's class, geometry at 9 a.m. Did I do the homework for that? Am I prepared in case I need to speak up or in case I need to say anything? Geography, history, Mr. Malone, whatever have you. So I remember, and that's sort of how I function nowadays as well.
That's impressive.
I go to bed. Yvette starts snoring as soon as she hits the pillow. No kidding. But no, I mean, I started planning my day, and I remember, back when I was in high school, I was like, okay, tough luck. I'm here. Doesn't feel good, but what am I gonna do tomorrow? Let's just kind of plan it out. And believe it or not, I used to be fit back in the day. I remember. Yeah, I used to get done with school, go to the gym right after, and then just kind of walk back. And it was kind of an ongoing basis, but that's basically how it was.
I remember you would walk home and you would stop at the gym there
Right.
at Recreation Center.
Right.
Yeah, and you just walk home and
church.
you're always just so focused, just coming in and doing your homework and doing your thing and talking on the phone.
Yeah. Talking on the phone with the $2 phone cards.
Remember? You just wanted to squeeze those minutes out of those cards, huh?
Absolutely. Man, you would hang up and it was like,
Oh.
it would eat like freaking 20 minutes every time you hung up.
It's like, don't hang up.
No kidding. Yeah, no.
You're a boss if you bought the $5 card.
I know, right?
Huh?
Ooh, now you were talking business.
Now you're going to talk seriously all weekend long.
Oh, yeah. It's like Friday. Let me just get me my, $5 card.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure.
that's funny. What were some of those names of banderitas and like some of those?
banderitas.
You had like those famous ones that people would be like, "Oh, I found a better one." It gives
Esta
you-
dura mucho y no sé qué tanto.
This one gives you longer minutes.
And then
What's the word?
Yeah, and then a new one would just come out, and they're like, "Oh, this is the new good phone card."
The new phone card. Everybody be on it until the next new phone card would.
Yeah,
would be,
absolutely.
I remember that's. Or like you walking in the inside of the court at Sam with your Bluetooth, just a little guy just there walking, talking on the phone, looking like he was talking by himself because it was like
that little earpiece, right?
the earpiece, and you always had your
hoodie.
your hoodie.
Right.
And so you would just like walk around, just talk, like with your head down. It looked like there's those kids that just kind of walk and just kind of do talk to themselves,
Right.
and they're kind of more like loners. You're always just kind of like looking down, walking around, just talking, but you couldn't see that you were talking on the
Right.
phone because back then you couldn't have your phone because it'd get confiscated.
Right.
Nowadays, it's like, oh, it's fine, kids. Everybody's on their phones. Teachers
Yeah.
tell kids to get on their phones. It's kind of like daycare now.
Yeah.
Stop crying. Here, take the tablet.
Pretty much. No,
But back then, no. You got to be so careful for
Yeah.
them not to take your phone.
Yeah.
Because then the grown-up had to come get it after school. Get taken away.
I don't think I ever got my phone taken away. I was very sleek.
You look like a ninja. It's like, don't mess with him. He's doing his thing.
That's funny. Man, those. Just can't believe it's been about 10 years.
Yeah.
That time just flies.
It
Just
does. It does. So you go to college. So you criminal justice, right? So why criminal justice?
Criminology, criminal justice. I used to watch a lot of those, like border patrol shows where they would confiscate like tons and tons of cocaine and just drugs left and right and all that. And I just really liked that. And I originally, when I started college, I wanted to be a border patrol agent, and I was just so fascinated by that for some reason. But I don't know. It just the more I learned the subject, I just kind of shied away from it. Nothing in particular. It was just like I realized that it wouldn't be something that I wanted to be doing 24/7, or not 24/7, but on a daily basis or whatnot. So I just kind of shied away from that. And then again, knowing that to go to law school, you could just do it with really any degree. Again, I thought might as well just go to law school. Right after college, I
Might as well go.
might as well go. No,
Why not? Plan B.
After I graduated from college, I started working with an immigration attorney, a really nice guy, Matt Hanley. Immigration attorney. I was his paralegal. or legal assistant, whatever you want to call it. But I was there for 3 years. He's a really nice lad, a really nice guy. He had an office, or has still, I believe, an office in Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, and then another one here in Texas. So when I started, he had a couple of legal assistants, but then one of them quit, and then the other one was moving to Connecticut or something. So I was going to be left basically by myself, this 20-year-old helping out. And I'm like, okay. I got like a week of training. I had no clue what I was doing.
Wow.
And I was miserable for like the first, few months. Yeah, I really was. I was like, I'm just going to quit. I don't know what I'm doing. But no, he was always like very helpful. And I think he must have seen something in me. And again, aside from the fact that I wanted to quit a couple of times, just goes back to the earlier conversation. I'm like, I got to keep pushing. So I would just show up the next day and just, try to implement whatever I had learned before. And, 3 years went by. He was one of the first, if not the first person to tell me that I had what it took to be a lawyer. And I was like, no way. Like, I didn't believe in myself. I just didn't. I was like, no, I don't think I'm good enough, as many people think of themselves, which is something that, I think it's just erroneous, and people just need to get that out of their heads, especially if they're putting in the work, obviously. I mean, you have to have something there. But he was the first person to tell me that he thought I would do well in law school. Wrote a really good recommendation letter for me, got into A&M, and just the rest is history, I guess.
Wow. So you said he said he saw something in you, and it was kind of like the first time like that when you realized you didn't really like believe in yourself, but he inspired you to believe in yourself?
In a way, yes, I would say so. Because like I said earlier, I've always been a quiet guy. Just get my stuff done, and I'm not a very loud person. But when I have a project at hand, and when I focus on something, that's my baby, right? And I try to get it to the finish line. And I guess he saw that in me. He also knew that I had graduated summa cum laude from college, and it knew that I had the intelligence to get into law school, and he saw, I'm sure, the dedication, or I hope. I mean, otherwise he wouldn't have told me so, right? He saw that, and he was like, "Yeah, I think you can make it if you really wanna do it." And again, he was, I think, the first sort of professional person, individual. And when I heard that from him, I was like, maybe that's true. Maybe he's onto something. And that really like inspired me to just kind of go to the next step.
So you go home, and this is probably playing in your head. And what's that conversation with yourself?
It's
like in the moment as you're feeling, and you're going home, maybe driving, and you're processing what he just told you.
Yeah.
And you're in a sense, it's almost like a layer of an onion kind of peeled, because
Right.
you were able maybe to see a little bit further within yourself and see a possibility,
Yeah.
right?
Well, the conversation is, and the realization is, you can do it, right? Because once again, going back to high school, right? Taking the tax test, I was terrified of that. I took it, I passed it, I did very well, and that was out of the way, right? After I did that, I was like, oh, I'm at my peak. I mean, I'm really good. And then
I'm at my peak.
yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. It makes sense. I think. Yeah.
And then you're like, geez, I mean, can I do the next thing? And you're like just afraid of it, and you're like, probably not. I mean, that's just too much. Going to college, no, that's just too much. Should probably go back to Mexico and just be in my element again. But no, get
Go
into
to
college.
your comfort zone.
Exactly. You go to college, you do well, you graduate top of your class, and you're like, "Ooh, I'm at my peak again." And then you see the next mountain, and you're like, "Oh boy, that's that mountain
You
is
were
way
at your
down."
peak,
Yeah.
and then you were going to the next peak.
Correct. But I would look at that other mountain, and I was like, "That mountain is twice as big as the one I just climbed. I don't think I'm going to be able to climb that mountain." So it was a constant struggle for me, and it still is in a lot of ways. But I'm almost 30 years old at this point, so I don't have all the experience in the world, but I have a few battles under my belt already. And again, when I heard from an attorney, you can do this, you have what it takes to be an attorney, that's when I felt it was real. And that's what really like pushed me to the other side, if you would.
Had anybody else ever said those words to you?
Not the way he said it, not you have what it takes in a very serious conversation.
Okay.
Not the way, and again, it's just one of those picture moments that you can remember, right? You remember the setting, what time of day it was, what season it was, all that good stuff. So, I mean, I'd heard it before, but when he said it, it just really sinked in. And I was like, I think I can do this. And the other thing is, props to all the paralegals and legal assistants in the world. Seriously, a law firm or a law office just wouldn't be able to work without him. No doubt about that. But when I was a legal assistant, I was like, I want something more. I wouldn't say I want authority, because I mean, I've never been about that, but I wanted autonomy. I wanted to be able to do my work and get my work product to the finish line. And then just be able to look over that, mold it just the way I wanted, and then just get it to the finish line, which is a lot of what I do now. I mean, obviously I have partners that I have to respond to, no doubt about that. And, you're still under a lot of supervision, but at the same time, you have a lot of control over what you do. And it's something that I really enjoy. It's something that I really like. And it's something that I, thinking back to when I was working at his office, I was like, I mean, everything that I do has to be approved. And I don't know, there was just something about that I just
It's like
didn't
you
like.
you knew you had a creativity that you wanted to tap into and explore.
Correct.
And you didn't want to feel like did it feel like maybe like you had like you were outgrowing that box you were in? Like, I have more than this. Like, I'm ready for the next.
I think that's exactly how I felt at some point. And again, once I became more comfortable with what I was doing, say, a year and a half after I started, when I was like, I can really look, and this is again before law school, obviously, but I can look at a regulation, from the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, and I can, take that, break it apart, apply it to a situation that somebody has going on here, somebody who really needs this to work, and I can help them with this. And it was just a really cool feeling. I was like, I can do this. He's actually right. I think I can do it. So that's really when I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna, really work hard the next year or so, take my LSAT, do whatever I need to do, polish my resume, submit application, this and that, and it worked out.
Would you say, did you have any professors in school that maybe inspired you a similar way that this your former boss did? Maybe other people that you may remember that kind of helped you, that you remember, just like a particular teacher? Because I think, statistically speaking, there's in our lifetime, there's like 1 to 3 you really can think back on, and this may even be in your schools that you the school years you spent in Mexico.
Right.
Did you have any like particular teachers that you saw as role models that you connected with?
I mentioned Mr. Kopetsky earlier in high school. He was my geometry teacher, and he was a really good teacher. But he would always also motivate me, and just like push me a little and just be like, hey, you know, he would like, you know, congratulate me if you would for the homework or the, you know, the quality of the homework that I did, because I finished, you know, problems 1 through 10 and I only got 1 X mark or something like that. But I remember this one time when he was like in the middle of the class and people didn't, like a lot of the kids didn't bring their homework. And I was like 1 or 2 that actually did the homework. And he was like super pissed off at these other kids. He was like, I can't believe that y'all have been here your entire lives and you can't turn in a homework assignment. You have this kid who is from Mexico, and I'm obviously paraphrasing, but he phrased it this way. This kid who's from Mexico, he turns his homework in every single time on time, and it's nearly perfect. I just can't believe why that is. And he was just like grilling these kids. And I was like, oh, thank you. Now all the kids are going to pick on me, I guess. But that didn't happen. But
Teacher's pet.
Right. No, but he was a good professor, a good teacher.
Just sitting in the front of the class.
Yeah. Nah. No, but he was good, right? It's my star.
Oh gosh.
That professor.
You know, it's funny you mentioned him because one of the people that I would love to have in the podcast here is Miss Kopetsky. I thought about her specifically, and we still kind of stay in touch because, you know, they were also Evelyn's teachers, and then Elizabeth's.
Are we talking about the same Kopetskys?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
And Ever and their son, they're both juniors, and they've been in school together since Crow Elementary.
Wow.
And then junior high, and now high school. And even though I think they belong in Sam Houston district, like they're both in the STEM program at Martin. And then now Ms. Kopetsky is at Martin, and Mr. Kopetsky, he moved to another school, I believe. I can't remember where. But they both taught together at Sam for many years. Like, I don't know, maybe 17 years.
Yeah.
Or something.
That's super interesting.
But we still stay in touch, and even Jackson, it's their son, and you know, they're always invited over for like Ever's. They're pretty involved.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I would definitely like to say hi at some point to Mr. Kopetsky.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm sure Ever kind of. I remind him to kind of hang out because he's such a good friend, and you know, with such good family that we've known now for many years. And it's funny you mentioned that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you were even a student of theirs.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm sure I'll mention it next time.
I was in I think it was 10th grade geometry. I'm pretty sure 10th or 11th grade. But yeah, he was certainly.
That's so wild.
It is.
Yeah. Such small world.
It is such a small world. But yeah, I mean him. I'm blanking on this other professor's name. It was high school as well. Jeez, I'm it'll come back to me at some point. But he was my ESL professor, and he really liked, you know, my work product, if you would. And I just remember this one time that I was writing an essay or something, and I used the word infrastructure, and he was like, "Oh, Mr. Escobar, infrastructure, that's such a big word for you." No. I was like, yeah, I guess so. I can write now, right? No, but he was also a good professor. But no, I mean, there's professors.
How did he inspire you? Like, did you like the way he just?
No, yeah, I think he, you know, similar. He was like, you have the capacity to do big things. You know, just talks like that. Can't remember exactly or pinpoint one, but I think of him, and I think of him in a good light, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. It just brings back good mememories.
He touched you in
yes,
some sense.
correct.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. So do you look at certain, like, because it looks like you pay a lot of attention, and I am trying to see, like, how you think, because it sounds like you, like, pick these values. You're always looking for like something where you can learn, is what it sounds like.
Right. Absolutely. And it just again, it goes back to people you associate with. I try to cherry pick good traits from here, from there. And again, nobody's perfect, right? But there's people who have a lot of good qualities, and they just a lot of times go unnoticed. And I try to the best of my ability to pay attention to those traits and see how I can learn from those. For instance, we're talking about Logan. He's a great, organizer, great planner, and I aspire to be like that someday, to be as organized, because I am in a way. I have to be, right? Otherwise, I just couldn't function. But there's a lot of room for improvement there. And again, just think about people like that, and you're like, I want to be like that someday. Just ask them questions, I guess.
Yeah. So you're going through this whole journey. It's high school. You're learning, college. You work at this law office where you're learning more, and then law school. But all in between that, or at least through this time you were in school, you also become a homeowner.
Right.
How old are you
I am 22.
when you buy your
When
first
I bought
home?
my first house. Yeah, I was. I think it was my second year working at that law firm or law office. Second year, I saw an opportunity. I know real estate is typically a good investment, so I was like, "What's?" There you go. So I was like, again, thinking long run. You typically learn that houses appreciate and this and this and that and yada yada.
You
And
typically learn, but I don't think you typically learn. Where did you see that? Because there's still many homeowners that are paying rent,
Right.
So like, it sounds like it's so natural to you because it's like you typically, it's like, and I say this because, I'm a real estate agent. And so I see even like a lot of people when they're fearful to buy and they've been renting like for 50 years, you're
Right.
only 22 and you're here new to the country, and you basically, it's kind of like, oh, I got to buy a house. So how how did you say, okay, I need to buy a house? Or like, what were you thinking? You're so young, you're in school, you were
Right.
in love with a girl that lives in another country.
Right. I think that's one of the things that was at the forefront of my mind. Right?
Oh, okay, since the get-go.
Yes.
So big goals,
But yes, exactly. So long term,
long term.
build wealth to the best of your ability with all your limitations. Just try to push forward, build wealth. You're gonna build a family. That's a huge investment. So you want your family to be well. So work for it. Bust your ass. I'm sorry, excuse my language. Do whatever you need to do, but get it done. Right. Get it done. And again, you have a goal. Just as a 22-year-old, even though I already had my college degree, just like as any first-time home buyer, right? It's just going through the mortgage process and all that. It's just it's a mountain. It's very tough process. So I managed to go through all that, get it all done, and then just go from there. And again, I always had that in mind. Just I want my family to be well, and it's gonna sound sort of, patriarchal, but I just butchered that word. But I always felt like I needed to take care of my family, and I still do anyway. But there's that, and again, you just gotta bust your ass. When I was in college before I graduated, I was working at Monotronics. Remember that? Where you met this guy.
That's where we met.
But I was working full time as a customer service rep overnight, 35, 40 hours a week. I was going to college in the mornings and then the afternoons, because I think it was my junior year when I started working there. So you don't get to have all your classes in the morning or in the afternoon or evening. They're kind of broken up. So I'd go to work Sunday, 10 p.m., get off at 7 in the morning, drive home, go to class at 8:30 in the morning, get back home around 10-ish, 11-ish, take a nap, go back to class in the afternoon, go back home, take another nap, go back to work, and do that same thing for 4 days until Thursday night or Friday morning when I got off. Get off on Friday, just kind of kick back, relax, and get all your shit done for the following week. Get all your reading done and all that. So I did that for 2 years. And one of the biggest things I wanted to get done was first raise some money, to put down for a house payment. Second of all, get my credit, in good shape. Get my credit cards and whatnot all good to go. Pay off my bills to make sure that that's, something that's recurring that it's gonna, help you down the road. It's not gonna help you in the next year or two maybe, but it did help me a lot. I mean, by the time I got, to 22, I was able to, use my own credit and get all that done and become a homeowner at 22. Mm-hmm. And, just repeat that same process all over again. And you helped us get our second house.
I did.
Yeah.
How did you learn where to go, where you needed to go? Because you're doing all of this on your own. You are this young, but at the same time, it's not like you're getting assistance from your mom or your dad because, they don't, at this point, like you're helping them versus, them guiding you through here.
Yeah.
So how did you know where to reach out?
I think it's...
Or who helped you maybe?
I think college gives you, like a toolbox, right? And a skill set to be able to function in society. So I think I put that into practice, Google, go to the internet, see what needs to be done. What is the mortgage process like? Take the time to read, on those weekends when, I was tired and probably didn't want to do anything else. Take your time to read articles. Just inform yourself to the best of your ability. See where the resources are. Who are a good mortgage broker, a good, lender, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And you just talk to people, and just like we did, with you, as far as getting through the real estate process for this second house, it's just about talking to the right people and informing yourself. And before you talk to that person, you have to have knowledge about what you're going to talk about, I think. I mean, as you probably know, I mean, this was my second rodeo, right, with the house. But it had been a minute already. It had been 6 years since I purchased my first house. So I had to just kind of go back and inform myself. And by the time I got to you, I already had sort of a scheme in mind. What are the interest rates? I mean, are they going up? House prices are going down. Is this a good time to buy this and this and that? And again, you go with somebody with expertise, such as yourself, and you ask the more detailed questions, and you get it done. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're not an island, right? So we have to reach out. We have to find those good resources, ask questions, and go from there.
I think it's key that you mentioned to do research yourself.
That's key.
Even
That's very
before like talking to them. I think Tony Robbins once said like he recommended to talk to like if you go to a doctor and it's like something crazy, he's like, don't just settle for what the first doctor tells you just because they have a white jacket. Like go to 2 or 3 other ones and see and inform yourself of the best option, because they all might tell you different things, and then you may be able to have a better option of deciding where you want to go. And so by doing like your research beforehand, and you understand the right question, what to ask, or what they tell you, you can understand, like, yeah, that's a good fit. Like,
Yeah.
I can work with them. Would be like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I
They're
read
just
something.
bullshitting me.
Yeah, like I read something completely different, and so I'm gonna like check it out with somebody else and
Right.
see what else somebody else has to say, because I understand it differently from what I read. So
Yeah.
and it's less likely for you to get fooled out there,
Yeah.
or for people to really not, like, if you're gonna pay for a service, or hire a service to get the best that you can.
Right.
And so, there's always going to be good and better, or, there's always going to be worse, but you at least want to be prepared at the best of your ability
Yeah.
for the task at hand.
Absolutely. And I think that's just key with everything you do. I mean, just learn as much as you can about the subject, and then just find the right people. Just get surrounded by the right people, and just take it from there. It's just so important. And unfortunately, a lot of people just don't take the time, right, to do that, homework, if you would, or to take that.
Why do you think?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of people just don't want to spend the time. They'll rather do something else. That's the only thing I can think about. I mean, it's tedious to do some of that stuff, right? It's just not easy. Who wants to sit in a computer and read an article and do some critical thinking about, whatever the subject is? A lot of people don't want to do that. Just like to take the shortcut and just go to somebody and just ask, and, just go from there.
Yeah.
That's a problem. A lot of people get taken advantage of for that very reason, I think.
Yeah. So you're almost 30.
Jeez, that sounds horrible.
And so, like, thinking about, like, your early 20s, like close to almost, like, say, like 10 years ago, what have you learned that maybe you didn't expect? What was, like, I guess you would call it maybe like a lesson that it was kind of hard to learn, because something that taught you something that you didn't know, that maybe you learned the hard way? Because you can only plan so much, right? And then I think there's, like, moments that start shifting your brain of thought. I'm sure you're not the same Ivan today as you were when you were, even 20 years old.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's a different Ivan today. And, sure, like, I'm sure a lot of people would, it's like, oh, well, you're 30, that's so young, and that's fine. But it's like, I'm just, like, comparing, our own lives.
Yeah.
Like, you now versus, like, you 10 years ago.
Yeah.
What was a lesson learned that really shaped you, maybe?
I mean, I can't think of a specific, event. But I was I feel like I mean, for obvious reasons, I was just naive. I was just more naive. I took people's words, without questioning them a whole lot, in my earlier 20s, late teens. But again, that's just natural, right? I mean, you grow, you just have some experiences, you have your ears perked up a little bit more. I just really can't think of any particular instance that, like, marked me, so to speak, or a big shift in my life.
But that was a lesson that you learned.
Yeah, I mean,
now
just
the years.
Don't be naive. And again, I learn stuff at work almost every day, and como dicen en México, o sea, agarras colmillo, ¿sabes? O sea, el colmillo pues ya te va creciendo, empiezas a cuestionar más las cosas y sabes que no tienes que creerle todo lo que dicen todas las personas. Por algunas razones que ya se me vinieron algunas a la mente, but I just, would like to keep that under covers.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just learn to be more alert. The lesson is, just don't take people's words for what they are. Just put some thought into it. And como dice Jeanette, creo, ten un poco de maldad. ¿Sabes? O sea,
You gotta, Jordan Peterson talks a lot about that. Like, you have to think a little bit like on the evil side,
yeah,
or
that's exactly it.
because you have to understand it, right? So it's like you have to dive into that mindset to be able to understand what people are capable of, and then know how to prepare for that, because you're talked about being naive, and we all are always, especially at that kind of age, right? Because you're learning, there's just so much, but yeah, like you have to take the moment to go into that mindset, so to be able to somewhat understand. And, he talks about the fact that we're naive to think that there's like no evil or like bad shit going on out there.
Right.
The only difference, or even when like people say, "Oh, Hitler, I would never be like Hitler," or something, some shit like that, and but he's like, no, like a lot of people think that way today. The problem is people are not as organized as Hitler was. You know,
Yeah.
he had a different skill set. He didn't he was just evil. No, like there's a lot of evil people. The difference is how well can you be organized a group of people, especially.
Yeah.
I mean, that's hard.
A massive group.
Like that was his skill. I mean, and to me, like, I was like, that is so true. Because a lot of us want to be successful, but only a few put in the work,
Yeah.
or, whatever that is to people's minds. But the key is how organized are you, and how much can you develop or make or create whatever it is that you're imagining, right?
Absolutely. No, there's a lot of truth to that, and again, just sort of goes back to, the whole planning thing and the whole, organizing, and how much you wanted at the end of the day. So it's just a lot of people don't want to do that, don't want to spend the time, don't want to put in the time, and there are a lot of gifted people, and I think a lot of people's talents sometimes just go to waste because they don't put that extra effort into it. A few people pop into my mind, won't say names, but it's just a lot of wasted talent that could otherwise be used very efficiently.
Why do you think? Like, what think, like, for these people that maybe, because it sounds like maybe they don't believe in themselves, and that comes to mind because I feel like there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, I mean, I lived it. Yeah.
Yeah, even me, like, I can think of people, it's like, man, like you're so great. Like,
No.
like you, well, not like you. But,
No, me. I just
no. But like people, like I can think of mine.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, like you just keep going. So like, what do you like? What do you think? What do you think it's missing? Because I don't think it's just a certain people. I think it's a lot of that going on right now.
the drive to like actually
Yeah.
want it, how bad you want it. People maybe just don't want it that bad, or they're just not willing to put in the work. Again, I think a lot of things revolve around that, not wanting to put in the work and the hours and the time. Again, it really comes down to that a lot of times, and you have to have a certain degree of luck as well to be in the right place at the right time for many things. But I think that's just an extra, and probably 5% or less than that. But a good chunk of it is the perseverance and just wanting it enough and getting up every day and doing it all over and over again. That's what I think a lot of people lack, unfortunately.
Yeah. I agree. I think also that that we are being conditioned, or maybe have been slowly, about having things instantly.
Yeah,
And
instant gratification.
Yes. And so, looking at tomorrow versus, 5 years or 10 years or whatever it is, that how you want to like live your life. And I say that because like I think I've even experienced it. Like for me, it's been like a wide opening, and it's something that I'm looking for now. Even whenever I talk to people, and it's like when I ask questions like afar for like, oh, for the future, it's like I don't know, like most people get stuck. It's like get stuck, you know, and so how do you surround yourself around people that you want to be like? What is your process?
Again, I think you need to have a selective ear, right? And a lot of it is just looking at how somebody behaves in different scenarios. And if you have the ability to look at somebody and you're like, I like how this person talks. I like how this person carries his or her business. I like how he behaves in front of others. I like how he behaves, if it's a friend, when he's not in front of others. I like how he treats waiters. I like how he or she treats the elderly. I like, just different things. And I think you have to have just that sense to be like, I want to surround myself with this kind of person, or with this group of people, or this person, or whatever have you.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it comes to that. Just be very, you just observe and just really think about who you surround yourself with.
Yeah. So you go hard, a lot for the most part. I mean, you are a lawyer and you're a husband, and so and basically, where do you find time off, or what do you like to do in your time off?
Hang with the wife for the most part. So what have we been doing these days? Just watch.
How do you unwind?
We watched Game of Thrones lately.
Oh.
Like, 10 years after it came out, we barely started watching it. But that's basically it. I mean, we've been busy, as we were talking earlier, with the whole, I guess, remodel project of the other house, if you would. So do that.
So you keep working on your time off.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's right. You're putting your other home now.
Yeah.
On
for
the
rent.
your investment. So you're fixing that up.
Yeah, and again, it just goes back to instant gratification. The easier thing would have been to just sell it. House built up a ton of equity. Put some good cash in my pocket. It would have been really nice. Instant gratification. But I mean, no. I mean, you think about the future and how DFW is booming and how it's growing. All these people coming in and how that asset has a lot of value to it attached to it.
Yeah.
So you just think about those things. But going back to your leisure time or whatnot, I mean, we been hanging a lot with Omar and Ashley lately, right? We play tennis. We got us
cool.
a couple of tennis rackets and playing tennis. We've been at Top Golf. Just play some golf. That's about it. Probably gonna start playing indoor soccer soon. So
You are?
yeah.
Okay.
So it's been a minute.
You and Omar, or
Yeah.
just you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been a minute. I don't know how my body's gonna react to it. Hopefully, I don't have a heart attack or something the first
How
few
long
minutes.
has it been since?
Dude, it's been since I was in middle school.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's been a minute.
I remember you were real good too.
I was. And I kind of miss those days. But
Indoor soccer, that's fast
yeah,
paced.
for sure.
It's
So,
like
yeah.
so different than like outside.
Yeah. So that's really how we spend our days. I mean, our weekends, just trying to just unwind for a bit. Again, just watch movies, whatever have you. With the pool, we used to swim, but not anymore. We don't have a heated pool, unfortunately. But that's it. That's it.
But it's a nice pool.
It is a nice pool.
Yeah, I'm sure it was refreshing here in these hot days. We still get some hot days, so
Yeah.
that's
for
nice.
sure.
Get to use them most of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, what about you? What do you guys do over the weekends?
What do we do? We also watch shows at night to like right before we go to bed. So we eat dinner, and then we clean up, and then we set the bed, and then we watch a show that we're watching. And a lot of times we do have to go back and rewatch the show for like the same episode a few nights because I fall asleep. So it takes us a while to get through a show, but it's usually a show.
So that's your weekend. What about your Monday through Friday? How does that look like? How does your typical work week look like?
Like from morning.
Say Monday morning. You
Monday
get up.
morning.
What do you do?
Well, for Mayra though too, the thing is on weekends. I mean, she's working, so it's if there's showings or meetings with clients, it's for her. It's not Monday through Friday. It's like Monday through Sunday.
Yeah,
Whenever the
basically.
meetings are. For me, it's like Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
Yeah. Well, I wake up and sometimes it varies, especially now with Maddie. Like even my sleep, even I think it just because it really does vary. So sometimes I may get up at 8, or sometimes I may get up at 5. Or even sometimes like I literally like lately, especially I don't know what's going on with me. I'll get up at 3, and it's like I'm like I get up and okay, I sit down and then I try to meditate.
That's nice. It's a good habit for sure.
Yeah, so I do have. There's a Strides app that I use that I try to build habits.
Do you think meditation has benefited you?
Oh, 100%.
In what sense?
Like I feel like I'm able to think about what I want.
How do you stop your mind? Because I've tried it, but to be perfectly frank, I have a really, really hard time just kind of spacing out and just leaving everything else on the side. How do you do it? How do you get into the mood? How do you how do you do it? Because again, I've tried it not once or twice. It's been a few times, and it's just very, very, very hard.
Have you tried apps or just yourself?
I have. Forget. I mean, there was this one on Netflix. It tells you, oh, there's a sun, and it's kind of going around, and just close your eyes and feel it, and it's going to touch your feet, and you're going to feel the heat, and I mean, it just kind of guides you through it. And I've tried those sorts of apps, but I start to follow it, but then a thought crosses my mind, and then boom, everything is out the door at that point. So what do you do?
So for me, I get my headphones, my Bose headphones. They're amazing.
Okay.
They're over the ear. I can only wear headphones over the ear because for some reason anything that goes in my ear, it's uncomfortable. Yeah. But nonetheless, those are really good because they're you can really hear the sound really well.
Right.
And it's like you don't hear anything else. All right, especially when your volume's like high, right? I use this app. I've used a few in the past, but lately I've really liked. I've already renewed a year, and I'm about to have to renew again, so like 2 years. This app called Breathe.
I've heard of it.
And so I don't even know how it came up to where I downloaded it, but I really like it because these meditations, there are a lot of them are breathing, and it has like different types, and it's like I like the hypnosis type meditations. So you go in and then they start telling you how to breathe. And then it's like, it's like this guided meditation. And so you're there and then you're breathing. And then it's like, when I'm really going in, like that every time I picture myself, like there's a little me sitting on a cliff and just dingling my legs. And so it always talks to me as like, okay, finally, Mayra, you're back. Now listen to me. And it's like I'm talking to her, which is like my conscience. Or like in Pinocchio, it's like, the grasshopper, which is the conscience of Pinocchio.
Right.
And it's like your unconscious mind, your body wants to come out and do all these things, but then it's like the grasshopper, right? Like my little Mayra that's like, oh, hey, you're back finally here, focus, like stop being, you know, just out there doing just whatever it is that the world's telling you to do.
How many times do you do this a week?
I try to do it all the time, every day.
Do you do it every day? Or you,
I do, but sometimes I don't do it all the way or I don't connect as deep as I want to.
what benefits do you take out of that?
I don't know. I feel like I need it. I feel like I need it to
Unwind, relax.
to like, especially like I'm going and I feel like I want to do so much, and then it's like I start feeling kind of like frustrated, I guess, or and it's like, okay, I need to like I need to anchor myself back to the ground and like calm down and like reorganize. But I need to calm down first. I need to calm down my crazy monkey mind. Mm-hmm. That's just like, oh, this.
Right. But that's like the toughest part for me, though. Again, because that's how I am.
The breathing, and for me, like when I'm connecting and I am like trying, but I feel like I'm still stopping myself at some point because I feel like everything just starts going around in circle, and like the faster I can feel myself connecting starts going faster. And I know I'm really in charge when I can control the speed of how fast things are going around in my head.
That's crazy.
So when I start controlling the speed, when I'm like, okay, I'm going to go faster, and it's like this adrenaline that I feel in my heart. And then once I feel I can control the speed, I feel like I'm in control. But most often I start and then I lose it, and then I lose the speed. I have to regain control.
Okay, so it's all about trying.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
until you zone out. Basically.
And so I say I try because I feel like if I sat longer and maybe try, I feel like I don't try as long as I should.
And how long are those sessions, I guess?
Well, if I get a really good one in the morning, like if I get up at 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning, it'll be at least 45 minutes.
Okay.
And any other time, it's like whatever driving time I have, or
You probably shouldn't do that.
well, those I don't do that deep.
Yeah, no.
But I do like I either listen to a podcast, or sometimes if I do feel I need the meditation, like I'll do like some breathing meditations.
Gotcha.
But it's like breathing. It kind of like helps me learn how to breathe, because this also helps me when like, especially like when I'm training jiu-jitsu, or or even like I'm trying to get better at video with myself. And so I feel like sometimes with these breathing meditations really do help me. And I like that this breathe app, I don't know, I feel like now I'm emotionally attached to it because I feel like
Because they're paying you
I've
for
learned.
it, right? I'm just kidding.
Well, you have to pay for most of them, right? Or all of them, I guess. But I like it because I feel like I started with that when I knew nothing. Oh, I tried a few, and that's the one I liked when I knew nothing. And so I also learned one really cool thing. It has like guided like lessons. And it's like these therapists, which one of them I now follow. One of them, his name's Dr. Joe Dispenza. I don't know. No. Okay. So he has a lesson. There's like 6 lessons, and he breaks down basically, or he has a way of combining like mysticism or like meditation with science.
In the obscure. I'm just kidding.
And so, when he breaks it down and breaks down like really like that down to who we are, right. And it's like, that's when I was like, oh my gosh, like for me was like, there's so much out there that we don't know. And
right.
it's just like one thing just kind of pulled up 1,000 questions.
Yeah,
and so
kind of worms.
Yeah.
Unexplored territory. Dun. No, I would like to do that. Certainly, it's just, again, it's just like everything else, right? It's all about practicing and just doing it until you get it.
I feel like people have their own ways of meditating. Like I feel like like, for example, yours may be like, all right, task mode, I don't know, because like, I think there's a way where like you kind of, and maybe that's your way where you kind of connect with yourself or something, because you got to have something that like pushes you at some point, like you're having probably a conversation within yourself at that point.
Yeah.
And that's the way you get balanced.
Yeah. But I mean, how do you, I'm just having
Or like
a hard
my
time.
mom, right? Like she prays, like that. I feel like that's her meditation.
Yeah. My thought of meditation is you just unwind, you sit
Yeah.
back. But I guess, you could be right. I mean, there could be many other ways to meditate. I'm just haven't found the one that works for me, unfortunately. But, maybe it's all about trying other apps or whatever have you.
What do you think meditation is?
Sort of disconnecting yourself from your worries, your thoughts, get into deep relaxation mode. That's my thought about meditation.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a ton more than that,
Yeah.
but it's just my general understanding. It's hard for me to disconnect. It's really hard. And
I think especially because it's hard, I think it is important or interesting if you start kind of learning to practice that, because it might actually help you in the long run.
yeah,
But I don't know, because I mean, you must have a system where you kind of self meditate, even though maybe you don't know, because I know you've been through so much more that even like stuff we haven't even talked about. I mean, the stuff about like even the stuff we have talked about just now, it's like enough reason to know there's got to be some way that you have to kind of connect with yourself and keep pushing forward.
yeah. I mean,
Or maybe not. I don't know. I could be wrong.
maybe not. I hadn't really thought about it, but when I'm in relaxation mode, if you would, I like to watch something on TV that I don't have to think about a whole lot. The perfect example is watching an episode of Friends, right? I get a kick out of it. I'm not thinking about, the brief that I have to write the next morning. I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm just thinking about that episode at that point in time. And I guess that's my way of disconnecting. I'm just giving you an example, right? I mean, I watch something else that I like, and that's my 1 hour.
So would you say like a TV entertainment is probably your
yeah.
go-to?
Yeah,
To kind of get out of your own head?
Yeah, I'm not much of a book reader, as we talked about. I mean,
What about podcasts?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
I do. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm an avid, podcast listener, but I certainly, listen to a few.
Who do you listen to? Or what do you,
I listen
what do you
to
listen?
Radio Lab.
What's that about?
It's basically it talks about a lot of topics, just general topics, but there are like particular series where, they say, I'm going to talk about the Constitution, and I'm sort of a geek, I guess. Talk about the Constitution, talk about, all the amendments of the Constitution, the historic background of each of those amendments, how that amendment came to life, what's the, again, legal and historic background to it, and just bring some, real life stories of how that applies nowadays. And I just find that very, very amusing, very, very interesting. Those kinds of things. I guess podcasts, I don't listen to a ton of them. Just watch TV, sit back, relax, and that's about it.
Would you like to learn? What would make it easy for you to apply that into your schedule?
What do you mean?
Like meditation.
What would make it easier?
Yeah. What would make it easier? What would you have to do to apply it into your life?
Have more time.
You need more time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. Because again, I get home, have dinner, chat with the wife, just talk about the day in general. Go home, sit back, relax, and watch an episode or two or whatever it is that I'm watching, and then just go to sleep. But I feel like I'm usually worn out at that point. And just like the thought of like, meditating or whatnot, it's like, in my mind, it's like an extra task, right? So maybe more time would be great. So, I don't know.
Sounds like you don't want to prioritize that.
Yeah, probably. No, I probably should, but.
Do you know anybody else that meditates?
Not really. Do you meditate?
No.
No. You, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't really like asked, do you meditate, or
Yeah,
it just
fair
hasn't
enough.
come to the conversation.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, especially if you don't do it, it's not like, oh, hey, do you like meditate? Unless it's something you're actively trying to pursue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next week you're gonna hear me talk about meditation all day long. Trying to get that done.
Well, I'm trying to learn, truthfully, even more, because from what I understand, it's like Sadhguru. I don't know if you know who he is.
Nah.
Okay, so he talked about it. It's like when you're really in and deep, it's like you disconnect from your body. Basically, it's like you're nothing and you're everything at the same time. And so, oh yeah, there he is, Sadhguru.
So what's his story again?
So he runs a nonprofit, probably the biggest one in the world, a nonprofit where he's planted a lot of trees. He's a mystic. He's a yogi. But no, he takes things like I love the way he talks, because like he just takes it so down to like the root level. Like we know nothing. Like he talks about like we don't even understand an atom to the fullest, which that's what we're made of. Right. And so, and it's like, it's so true. It's like, we know we're literally just a ball of energy.
Right.
Like a cell is made of 99.9999 energy and 0.00001 matter.
That's crazy.
Right. So then you have this 0.00001% matter, and it like a lot of those it makes an atom. And then and then more of those makes a molecule. And then more of those makes a tissue. And then more of those makes an organ.
Right.
And then more of those, and then here you are.
Right.
But it's all made because of energy. And, when they look at energy, it doesn't apply to any of, like, the laws, right? So, like, when they look at energy, it's kind of like everything's so sporadic. Like, it's unpredictable, right? And anything can be created. So, like, they talk about this. Dr. Joe Dispenza actually kind of breaks it down like that. And to me, that is so crazy because you need energy to do things. And then when people say, oh, I'm so tired, I don't have any energy, I instantly think that we're made of energy.
Quite literally.
Literally. Like, now that's the picture that I have in my brain, right? So, like, it's so crazy now, when people like think about that, because my brain quickly jumps to thinking, to seeing us as mostly energy, and like what to do to increase energy. And it's crazy to think that the things that help you create energy are the things that people don't want to do, such as like exercise. Right. So like it takes energy to exercise, yet it gives you energy back.
I hadn't thought about it that way. That's very true. Very, very true.
Ain't that crazy?
It is. It is.
Like, that's what I think. That's what's in my world. Welcome.
You crazy lady.
Oh, sorry, Harvey.
No, but it's true. I mean, gosh, I need to start exercising. See, you're making me feel bad now. Just a ball of energy without energy. You wanting to play indoor soccer? Look at me.
Hey, I sent you my gym name, and then Yvette today, she's like, "What's your gym name?"
There you go.
Yeah.
The farm. What was it again?
The barn.
The
yeah.
barn.
The bar.
Not the name, but it's the structure, what it looks like.
Just to be perfectly clear.
Eso de la energía suena como la pregunta de qué fue primero, huevos versus chicken,
The chicken or the egg? Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly it. I mean, literally, that's what's been talked about. Like the energy and matter is like, which one happened first? I was like,
Yeah.
it came first, the chicken or the egg?
Oh boy.
So you feel like you need you used to be like so into fitness.
I used to.
Where did it? Where did
A lot of it.
Yvette's over there raising her hand. Where did it all go?
Yes, it was her.
You got married.
She got married. Bad influence. You know, we go out, eat out every freaking day almost. No, but I mean, a lot of it had to do with my wrist surgery. I forget if I ever told you, but I broke my wrist when I was like 13, playing soccer, fell backwards.
Funny thing, huh?
Funny thing. And then I want to go back to play indoor soccer, so, you know, that's wrong with it. But anyhow, I broke my wrist, put it back together. It didn't heal correctly. I, went like that for like 5 years or so. I used to lift a lot of weights, and then it just got to the point where I was like, there's no way I can keep doing this. It just got to be very painful. So had to go back to the surgery room. They broke my wrist, put it back in place, put a big old metal plate, a titanium plate. Just kind of put it all back together. And after that, it was just like I just really didn't get back into the groove. Not putting that as an excuse, obviously, but that was like the kicker.
But that was the reason.
That was a reason. It was a reason. Huge reason.
It's not an excuse, though, but that's the reason. Sounds like my husband.
Ooh, shots fired.
Yeah. No, I meant like we would always have arguments about like excuses and arguments because he would be like, I would say it's an excuse, and he's like, no, it's a reason.
There you go. That true, Logan?
There's a fine line between excuses and reasons. Mine are always reasons.
So this was a reason.
Yeah.
It was a reason. And then, I don't know, I just kind of,
Got busy.
life started to get busy. And again, that's another reason, right? Life gets busy. Everybody's busy. But, I mean, you just have to find time. And I just really haven't. That's one of my, I'm not going to say like my New Year's resolution because I'm actually starting now. I have a, stationary bike at home, and every so often, not every day, but I mean, at least I try to get in, 15, 20 minutes. I mean, it does some good, right? It's better than nothing. So,
Better than nothing.
So that's a start, I guess. Then again,
Do you focus on building habits, or how do you implement things to your life, or do you just take them as they come?
no, I think you have to, right? You have to have a structure. You have to have a plan. And my plan for now is to at least, you got to start small, right? At least do it 3 times a week, 15, 20 minutes, 3 times a week. Get up in the morning. Before I hit the shower, just, jump on it and just do 15, 20 minutes. And again, just do it at least 3 times a week and just kind of go from there. Hopefully, next month it'll be 4 times a week, 5 times a week. And you just got to build from there. You just can't go from 0 to 60, like, overnight, right?
Yeah, that's true.
It's just not healthy. That's another reason.
That is not healthy.
It's not healthy. You could injure yourself. It's not healthy, Mayra.
You said it's not healthy.
It's not healthy. You gotta trust me. I'm a lawyer.
Oh, it cracked me up. You know.
We're gonna have 5 minutes of this.
Oh gosh, I hate this. Now I'm sweating. Oh gosh, seriously, look, I'm strained. Oh good Lord. You said it's not.
You gotta trust me on that one. I stand by it.
Oh. Okay. Oh, sorry.
We're gonna take a commercial break for Mayra.
Yeah, seriously.
No, I mean, yeah. Again, obviously, I'm just not. I need to build up that habit and
Yeah.
just start small. Do this for a year, and then I'll make it a routine after a year.
Oh, actually, yeah. No, seriously. It takes like 92 days to make a habit, you know. I just recently learned
Otherwise,
that.
it's unhealthy. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Oh, Lord. That was... Sorry. No, but you do have a point about at least starting and doing it, you know. I mean, you and even having the equipment or making it easy.
Right. I mean, it's there, right? It's like
Yeah.
a little bit of an incentive.
So, but you don't like working out anymore, or you never really did?
I mean, I did before, but I mean now it's like, I see it more of like an extra task that I don't necessarily enjoy, if you would. Maybe if I, get used to it, I will, but I just really need to get back on it.
Yeah.
It takes time.
What do you think it would get you there?
Um,
Or what would it get you there? What's the easiest path?
it just kind of goes back to doing it like every so often and just get into the groove of things. Again, I don't think you can go from 0 to 60 and just like do it every day and whatnot, because otherwise it's unhealthy. No, I it's just have to work on it little by little. But
Yeah.
it's just kind of where I am right now.
Yeah. I honestly, like, for me, what I've learned is, like, to make it enjoyable.
How?
That's why I do jujitsu. Like, it's a good workout. Like, it's a great workout. Like, you are pushing yourself. And not just your body.
Literally pushing others.
Literally everything you're pushing. You're pushing others. You're pushing your body. And more importantly, you're pushing your brain. Because, like, it's a workout, right? That you have to, you see something and your brain process it, right? And so now your body has to match what your brain is telling it to do, right? So I'm still white belt. I'm still learning like a shitload, right? So, and that's why, for me, that's why it's been so wide opening, because it's like you see it, I was like, oh, okay. But then, you lay on the mat and now it's your turn to try it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, shit. Like, it was just so clear 5 seconds ago. Mm-hmm. And it's like, now you missed it. You missed it. Like, you didn't do it right now, and it's like, and then you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again. Mm-hmm. And then slowly you get.
But you actually get enjoyment out of doing it.
Oh,
right?
yeah, 100%. It's kind of like in high school or junior high, or like when playing sports. I wanted to do everything, right? Like in school, and it's like, okay, track. I even like tried out for track once, and then I was like, It's like, I think it was like 7th grade, and I was like, this is so boring. Like, I want to just come out here and just run.
Yeah.
You know, but for me, I mean, I'll run all day long if it's like to play volleyball, or if it's to play basketball, or if it is to play or any sport that involves like some sort of activity, not just running. Now,
Right.
I do enjoy running, but now it's because I've learned to enjoy running. Like I put my headphones, and that's kind of like another like me time. And then I'll most often will I either listen to a podcast or listen to a book. And I go in there and you know, just do my thing, you know. Either it's that, or like lately it's been rowing. I really enjoy rowing much better because it's a better workout all in one. Like, you get the cardio in, and you get and you work like 90% of your muscles. So it's cardio, and you know.
Yeah.
And it's like
Everything
not
packed into
not as hard on your knees in the long run, or
the
whatever.
joints and all that. Where do you do that? Where do you go?
Lifetime.
Okay.
Lifetime. Oh, it's so good. Let me tell you. You go, and then like we have our relaxed days. Logan and I, we love these days. So, and we do the trio. So at the bottom and the first floor, they have a heated pool, and then they have a lap pool, which is cold or colder than the heated one, and then there's the hot tubs. And then right next to that, all that, it's like across actually the heated pool, it's the sauna. And in the sauna, it's both males and females can go in there. So Logan and I will go, or sometimes individually, and then we'll hit the sauna certain minutes, and then hit the lap pool for the cold feeling, and then jump in the hot tub, and then do that for, I don't know, whatever, however long you want, 30 minutes,
Nice.
40 minutes, an hour,
Nice.
whatever. And you can, sometimes we go just specifically to do that, or sometimes, you know, you can get a workout and then relax your body. Literally, it's like there's just like so much information about how good it is for your body to go from like hot to cool. You know, and what it does to your muscles, and it's so good, and it is.
Does it
feels so
actually feel
amazing.
good as well?
Feels amazing.
Sweet. We should try that sometime.
It's like, those are like our type of dates. Like, they're so good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's, yeah. I mean, you guys should definitely try it.
What else do you do for fun?
What else do I do for fun? Okay, so let's see. In the past, we did like we played sports like volleyball and softball and stuff. Nowadays, we've been focused on the podcast, which is for the most part like fun. For fun, yeah. I mean, what else? We walk our dogs.
Your
And-
20 dogs. How many dogs do you have?
2 dogs.
2 dogs.
2 dogs.
does it feel
Or
like
2
this?
big babies, huh?
Why does it feel like you have more dogs? Oh, it's like sometimes we go to your mom's or something.
Yeah, my mom
They're
has
all-
more
yeah,
dogs.
Gotcha.
My siblings, yeah. So we walk our dogs. For a while, we got into playing chess, but I think like between just being productive during our work day, and then getting ready for the podcast, and then eating dinner, and then now spending time with Maddie, or
Yeah.
like literally, it's like most of the time is recording her. Oh, look, she like lifted her arm. Record.
Right. It's just that age where, you know, she's just learning so much and doing so much new stuff every day. I guess
Yeah,
it's
especially
worth
right now.
recording every minute.
Yeah. She's just like she's 6 months, and so like now before she kind of like reach for things. Now she's like launching
Right.
for like things like
Yeah. So how do you think parenthood has changed y'all's relationship?
No.
I mean, there has to be some change, right? Not
It hasn't
necessarily
changed, but it has
Negative.
enhanced it, I would say. Like, I would say it hasn't changed it really. It has enhanced it because I've been able to see, like, I would say like Logan, more so kind of put on a different gear. So I don't know, like, like he just makes things so easy, you know, and it feels like for him, like a switch went on, and it's like, I don't like, it's enhanced it because I appreciate much more than anything, like what he does every day. And you know, we do. There's times where we like bicker about things because I feel like he's so like alpha in like and so strong with his word, and so am I. So like sometimes when takes time to like make decisions, and it's like we both go at it, and then it's like okay, there's all that energy, and then we come back, and then we make a like a decision or something. But but I feel like for sure I've seen him. He's always been such a good person, such a good husband, but he surprised me actually, and I didn't have low expectations by any means.
Exceeded your expectations.
Yeah. Like he just does more than, like he does more than I expect, or not even than I expect. Like that I had like it's like
Yeah, that's nice.
you know what I mean. And so he makes things really really easy. You know, he makes things like this possible. Right. Not just him, you know, obviously my family too, but like he's a huge part, you know, of and like whatever it is that I want to do or whatever comes in my mind, like he goes 100%, like all in and supportive, you know.
Yvette, are you taking notes?
Yeah. So like for me, it hasn't changed it really in a way where because we're still doing whatever we want to do. And most of that, it has to do with, you know, Betty, that she helps us with Maddie.
Right.
You know, so she makes us a lot of these things possible, but, you know, he helps plan things. And it's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And we're still doing, there's not one thing we're not doing that we like, oh, we have Maddie, now we gave this up, or now we changed this, or no. We still, he makes sure we make time to do what we want to do.
Nice.
That
we have gone to
that.
the casino less, though, I will say. May not be a bad thing.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing at all. Though y'all still made it last time, right?
We did, yeah.
With Maddie and everybody else.
With Maddie.
We've only been, like 2 or 3 times since she was born instead of 2 or 3 times per month.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because you're winning all the time. It's kind of hard.
Yeah,
I usually win, and Mayra usually loses, so it would even out.
I do lose.
What do you play again? I mean, is it blackjack or just the slots or what?
You know, I like blackjack, but blackjack pisses me off.
Why?
Because it just like eats like, I get like 20, and then here comes the dealer, 21. It's like, I have terrible luck.
Yeah, but you still like it.
I still like it.
Yeah.
But, and then I do also like roulette.
Oh, that's right.
I like it a lot.
That's right.
Yeah. I think that's where I kind of see if I'm lucky or not, because I'll just choose random numbers. And when I'm lucky, I hit. Like, it's just like, it doesn't matter what I do, black or red or this or that. Like, I'll hit.
Yeah.
And like, when I know I'm like, my luck is shit. It's like, I can go all red and it'll go all black. You know what I mean?
I didn't know y'all like to go to the casino that much. Like, you know, like Logan said, I mean, I don't know, a couple of times a month or whatnot.
No, that used to be more back in the day.
Yeah.
Like this year, we even like the year right before Maddie, we didn't really go as often. I think we went quite a bit when we were at my mom's. And I think that it was pretty bad. I think like our other years, like 3 years more, it was pretty bad, I would say. Well, I guess depends what you mean bad, but yeah, not anything.
Thanks.
Like,
we got
you want more whiskey?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
You like a different one? You want some beer?
Still working on it. No, we got into a casino phase. It was
Do we have a Mike's Hard
ago.
over there? You don't have any, I thought we had some beer or something. No. I'm kind of tired of water.
A little bit stronger.
He said, none for you.
Not tonight. Yeah, we got into this casino phase like a year ago or so, and we would go like probably 2 or 3 times a month for like 3 to 4 months straight. And it obviously didn't turn out very well. And we were like, no, this has to stop. I mean, this is just no. I got pissed off at myself. I was like, what am I doing? What rational person does this? But then after that, I mean, we sort of stopped. We put a hard stop and just like, we go sporadically, but not nearly as often as we did in that one phase.
Yeah, yeah. Those phases until you get just beat so many times, you're like,
Yeah.
that's it.
What am I doing?
Some people don't learn though.
Yeah, some don't. Mortgage their houses.
Yeah.
No, it's a true story. I mean, people do
401ks.
that. 401ks, retirement savings, everything. No.
But yeah, that's I would say that's basically how Maddie has really enhanced our lives, I would say. Because it's like everything we do, I would say, I think Logan and I were recently talking about it, and I think she's just kind of made life more purposeful.
When you look at her now, that she is she like
6
months? Mm-hmm. Who do you think she looks like more?
I think she's starting to look a lot like me. I think she has a very funny personality. Like she's always smiling and like
Very giggly
laughing,
and
very giggly. But then she's always just kind of like solar, just looking at everything. So it's like I think about like a little tiny scientist just wanting to test and explore everything.
What are you doing now to prepare her for the future and what's coming in this crazy world that's going on?
That's a very good question, something that I think about all the time. And I think for now, at least right now, this second, other than just kind of watching her for the development signs at where she should be at and kind of
Right.
like encouraging that, more than anything, I feel like I'm preparing myself for me to be the better version when she really needs me,
Right.
when she starts understanding. And so I want to be the parent that at least gives her a roadmap to go out and explore the world. And, and it's not going to be baby steps. So at first it's going to be like school and stuff, but I want for her to develop her own way of thinking. I want to teach her how to think.
Not just be
How
like
to
a
make
helicopter
choices.
parent and just be
No, I
there.
don't.
Right.
Not at all. And sure, I would support her I would support her to do whatever it is that she seems to gravitate towards when she starts kind of showing more of those signs. And so whatever that is, we're going to support, but we do want her to try different activities and learn different skills, because I think in everything different that you do, there's similar patterns that you can use in life all around. So, whether you play basketball or you play chess or you play golf or you play, I don't know, an instrument.
I mean, and you just associate with people, right? You build up that social network and social skills, and that just carries through life in general. And I think also that's what a lot of people are lacking these days, just emotional intelligence. And it's just very important for people to have empathy and, to have that EQ, that emotional intelligence that a lot of people take for granted. But I think it's very important. I mean, you go and you interview for a job, and yeah, you might be the brightest one, but if you don't work well with others and you're just an a-hole, I mean, chances are you're not going to get that job, right? So I think that's important to teach, younger generations, and it's just a lot that I think just it's just taken for granted. But
yeah, I think so too, and especially like nowadays, I have a theory. Like, I feel like we still today don't understand how to control the internet in the way that like it's controlling us, you know. And I find myself sometimes I'm like randomly scrolling now, right? And it's like that monkey brain is just kind of like doing that repetitive thing that you're just kind of used to. And so I think that like that we're kind of losing the skill of learning how to think, and when we're seeking out on the internet on what that gives us that instant gratification. It's kind of like a drug, right? So you take it, it makes you feel good for a little bit, and then it's like you miss it because you want that instant hit again.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and so then you start depending on that, and you're no longer thinking in the future. Now you're thinking in the past. And it's not so
Or that
much
very
that
next
your
moment.
brain is thinking in the past, is your body now has taken over your actual brain. That's the intelligence, because your body's now asking for these things.
Right.
Because that's the only thing your body knows.
Yeah,
It's a
more
record of the past.
It's more of a physiological response instead of, a well thought out response. Your physiological needs take over reason at the end of the day, and you have to respond to that urge. And it's just a vicious cycle that never really ends.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And so I think it's huge, especially with like what I see, or even the fear, of people. Like, I feel like lately, like, try to pay more attention to people. And it's like fear is what's driving most people versus their dreams nowadays. It's like they're looking at what not to do or how to enclose themselves to be much more safe, when we're actually living in the best era in like the entire history of time,
yeah.
where we can actually, like, we have a system now, we have a community where you no longer have to go outside at 5 a.m. and like
Hunt your next meal.
yes, it's like, oh, let me just go down the street to Kroger and pick this meat out or these eggs out, like.
And let's bring Logan in so he can just, make us a nice meal.
Yeah, no kidding. And so, it's like I feel like we just we're losing the ability to think past the next 24 hours, if that. For some
Right.
people, the next hour,
Yeah, agreed.
or the next 10 seconds, or until the next break.
Right, that's true. Couldn't agree more. With that, and again, it just goes back to our conversation 30, 40 minutes ago. It's that that bubble that people live in, and you're just looking at your Instagram, your Facebook, whatever have you, and all that's being fed into your your feed, and that's your world, right? That's where you live. You don't question things. You don't go the extra mile to seek, or at least critically think about whatever is being presented to you. And people just take the word of an influencer, and then that's their Bible, that's their religion, and that's a problem. And people are just living in that world, not seeking out, or exploring their potential, so to speak. I mean, I look at you, I look at your podcast, this project, I look at what you're doing in real estate, I look at what Logan is doing in photography. It's just crazy. I mean, that's the way things should work. You shouldn't just be stuck with one thing and just like box yourself out of everything and just be like, I'm going to work this 9-to-5 job and that's it. That's my life. Especially with all the opportunities that we have nowadays, right?
Yeah.
And with all the potential that you can tap into.
Yeah.
And that for a lot of people, it just remains untapped. And that's because, people just don't want to take the time to explore it. People just want to live comfortably. Don't want
Yeah.
to step out of that comfort zone. So it's
I think that people don't know how to think too. Yeah.
and I think a lot. I mean,
And I think it's like one kind of feeds the other because they don't want to think, and then it's
Yeah.
easier for them to do the other, and you
Yeah.
know,
absolutely. And I mean, just not to get too, into the weeds or whatnot, but I think a lot of it has to do with going back to the tax test. I mean, with standardized tests and whatnot. People, I mean, kids, at young ages are just taught to, bubble in a Scantron and just pass a test. And, a lot of the critical thinking, it just goes out the door because you're just taught to pass that one test and get that thing done out the door. And, it's a snowball effect. And it just, it's just not going to end up well.
yeah. So when that's the kind of stuff I think about, and it's like, okay, how do I guide my daughter through these challenges that we are seeing now, right? And it's not to fault anybody. I mean, the internet, it's like this huge monster that hit our way that nobody knew or knows maybe still, how to control. Like, it's controlling us now. And in a way, like I think it's a matter of how to channel that. It's kind of like emotions, right? Like it's okay, you're gonna have them. The important thing is how are you gonna channel them.
Right.
So like for some people, it's like they may indulge in, I don't know, drugs, alcohol, food, or whatever it is that people, porn, whatever it is that people do. And then you have other people that channel it into like, no, I'm gonna like, I'm gonna be better,
Right.
And so it's how you channel it, I think, and I think that's the tricky part, and maybe that's what I'm curious about, like how to channel it. Like we were talking about this earlier. I'm an agent, and I think about like posting stuff online. I mean, you talk about being shy. I mean, I don't know if you would see me as a shy person, but I would consider me somewhat shy at first when I don't know people.
Right.
Like you would probably not see me talk very much at all. I'm probably more so like taking things in. And then once I know you, probably a different story, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like it's we have the internet. Everybody's crazy wanting to connect somehow. And maybe it's because people are escaping something. And so, I don't know, maybe this at least here, I feel like I'm not just posting bullshit online. It's actually somewhat helpful.
I mean,
Or even just for me, truthfully, even looking at it selfishly, I'm going to have this forever. And even this moment and this experience that we're having here right now, nobody's going to take that away, no matter what happens.
yeah. And Maddie can learn from that.
Yeah.
And that's value that you're giving, not just to the community at large, but again, you're just growing as a person, and then
That's the main
learning
thing.
experience,
Yeah.
getting experience, learning new things, and these are very valuable things that you can pass on to Maddie, for instance, and that she'll probably
Yeah.
take and do the very same thing with her children if she ever has children, things like that.
Yeah, I think it's crucial. When we talk about like role models, like I was asking you earlier, like people that helped you along the way, because these people are crucial, I think. And like for me, I would say for the most part, like the people that have influenced me the most are people that I've never met.
Such as?
The internet, like Joe Rogan.
Gotcha.
Dr. Joe Dispenza, Jordan Peterson, Saguru.
Yeah.
It's like when they talk, I believe. It's so weird,
Yeah.
right? Because it's kind of like, wow,
Yeah. But they have a point. I mean, there's a reason why they're popular, and they speak, and again, granted, I don't listen to them, but I'm sure, knowing you, I can say you listen to good content. I would imagine. And
I would think it's the best.
Just knowing you, right? Just knowing you as a person.
Oh.
But again, I'm sure you look at them and you wanna become a role model, and you're doing your dues right now with the community, sending out informational videos, doing stuff that's gonna help people, and that's very, very noble, I think, because not everybody thinks that way. So
It's also fun. It's like everything else is like everything else that I can think of, or even that I see. Like I said, like it's like boring. It's like at least this is fun.
right,
Like, and I get to learn. Like, and like talking to people, it's so interesting. Like, I was even talking to Logan about this. It's like, it doesn't matter who sits on that chair. Everybody has a story.
right,
Like, you can't sit here and tell me, like, you're going to sit here and tell me no hardships you've been through.
yeah.
You know what I
Doesn't
mean?
happen. It's true.
So it's like it's just comes down to that, and I really do enjoy. So I mean, it's kind of like playing a sport. It's like the one bird kills multiple birds. Like the reason why I do jiu-jitsu, it's like I get a workout in, I sharpen my mind, I sharpen my body, and I get to have fun.
There you go.
Not only that, I'm learning a life skill. Actually, one of the guys there that's he's a student. He's a blue belt in our gym. This past weekend, he went out. I don't know where he was. He was out at some bar, and like there was some happened, and he came in and said like somebody like he used his jiu-jitsu to like pin somebody down till the cops came and arrested the guy, and
Wow.
yeah. And,
Yeah.
and it's like, and the coach,
Yeah.
he really should call him professor. He's a black belt. He's he's like, did jiu-jitsu, like, do you think jiu-jitsu helped you? He's like, 100%. Like, he probably wouldn't even have the guts to
Take down on that.
yes, to even just say, hey, like, let me come here and
Right.
step in and And I've heard stories. That one actually just happened over the weekend, literally just over the weekend, which is funny. But it's true. You learn a life skill, and I know that.
I mean, you have.
But it's selfish too because I enjoy it.
No, but I mean, you're getting like so many benefits out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you enjoy it, that's just like a plus, right? It's just a plus, and you're just adding another, tool to your toolbox, and you just become a more well-rounded person at the end of the day.
So even working out, I think it's I think it's how you see it, because you can even see it as like, oh, I'm gonna do this hard thing that I like, and I'm sure there's gonna be those days. But if you kind of change your mindset and say, you know what, I'm gonna go for like a 20-minute run, and I'm not gonna go all out, but I'm also not gonna like walk, right? I'm gonna like push myself, but it's gonna be a steady pace. And for those 20 minutes, I'm gonna do something that you enjoy. Maybe you'll read a book if you're into books, or maybe you'll watch a show on Netflix. Maybe you can start watching your shows instead of watching your show in bed. You can just go for light. Like, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. And I think Lex Friedman, he's another podcaster that we both listen to. Me, not as much, just because I don't have enough time a day, and I prefer like Joe Rogan and other people. But I think his content is amazing. And I think he said it in one of the podcasts specifically, I think with Jordan Peterson, because I'll watch all Jordan Peterson's things. I feel like he's like my, like, I don't have a dad role model anymore, since I was 15. So he is like my dad. It's like, that's kind of like how I see it.
That's so amazing, right? How you can think of somebody you've never met. and
Never.
You put him in that role model.
Yeah, I've
as a
watched
dad
all
role
his
model.
shit. All his shit. The only thing I need to do now is sign up for Daily Wire Plus. It's like he has like more content, right? But it's like even if I sign up for it, it's like I only have so much time and there's so much good shit out there anyways. But like, I mean, I literally thought about doing it just to support him. Because that's how much I love him. Like everything he's put out there, I've watched.
Wow.
It's
It's incredible how you can, I mean, you can reach so many people on so
he's
many
changed
levels.
my life. I mean, and that's thanks to, I mean, I met all these people through Joe Rogan. Literally through Joe Rogan, I met like all these other people except Dr. Joe Dispenza. He was through that meditation app. But
Unbelievable. And I'm sure you're going to reach out to lots of people. No, trust me, you're laughing now, but you know, it's going to happen.
you know,
happen.
but again, this is also a little bit selfish because it's fun, right? Like, but it is good. I mean, if I'm gonna post shit, I mean, I'm gonna have an account anyways. I'm gonna have Facebook. I'm gonna have Instagram. What am I gonna be? Just be there like, ooh, look at me being creepy, just whatever, or posting shit that doesn't really help anybody. Really, it's like here, hire me so I can get another check, and I give you nothing in return. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's boring too.
No, it's I mean, you're doing good things. You're on the right track for sure.
You know, I see it always, you know, I've been always kind of competitive, and I see it as like playing in the field. Like, and I think somebody specifically said this sometime. It was like, they felt like they were just on the bench watching, and it's like, hey, it's time for me to play. And that's when I realized, I'm like,
When did you
I'm
realize
such a little,
that? I mean,
like,
what made you realize
like 2 months
that?
ago, like I'm such a little bitch.
But what made you realize that? What was the
that I've been kind of hiding from my fears, or kind of like diddle-daddling or doing busy work instead of doing what I need to do.
But what made you realize that? I mean, something must have been a trigger.
It was a podcast. It was a podcast, and somebody was talking about how they were kind of doing some things, but they really were just not all in. Not until they went all in, and they actually started playing, not just in their head, but like actually starting putting the work in. They're like, now we're playing, now we're in the field, and when he described it in a sports scenario, like, hey, you're either on the team, but you're just warming the bench, or you're just there as a statistic,
right,
or you're the one that's in the field making moves.
running the ball, actually,
And I'm like,
getting stuff done.
I'm not. I feel like I'm making moves, but I'm really not. Like I feel like there's still fears maybe that I don't want to confront,
Such as
being here.
okay, but
Like,
you're doing it.
Such as, yeah, exactly.
I mean, look at this, right?
It's like, but like 2 months ago, I'm like, you're such a little bitch, you know, like, yeah, you're doing enough to say you're doing fine,
But that's not enough, huh?
but that's not enough.
It's not enough. I get that feeling. I hear you.
And I feel like I'm serious. I'm like, I'm in the bench. I'm fucking warming up the bench because I'm not out there making big moves,
Right.
bigger moves that I know I can.
Yeah.
Because I've thought about the possible, and I've seen the possible, and I feel where I'm at, and I feel how much sometimes even I shy away or like do enough to just kind of like, okay, you know.
No, I hear you. Again, same feeling with me working as a paralegal, right? I felt like I was just on the sidelines, you know, not tapping on my potential and not doing what I needed to be doing. And for me, again, it was that you can do this. You can actually do this. It took, unfortunately, somebody to tell me that, and I wasn't able to realize it on my own. Which is, again, I think it's a problem for a lot of people. So it just sometimes takes something to push you and say, I am wasting a lot of potential. And I think that was for you a couple of months ago.
Yeah, you know, even like every day still, but I think for me that was like big, like that was like, all right, like that kind of like pushed me a little. Was like, all right, come on, like,
Right. Got to do something about it.
yeah,
No, absolutely.
yeah. And even then, I was like, okay, well, we'll start in January, and it's like, I'm thinking about like all the shit that I think about every day, and it's like, and I caught myself kind of putting me in a safe spot at least till January. You know.
And you started right after that. It's when you were
Well, I
like,
told
let's
Logan
put
and-
everything together. Let's get this ball rolling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And, I talked to Logan and he's like, all right. And he's like, immediately, like, get to work. Like, he's kind of goes into that mode. Kind of like, he was like, all right, time to get going. And,
Okay. And it made it happen.
yeah. And even then I was like, Logan, I said, I really need to make this happen now. Like, I don't want to think about anything because last time we thought about starting the podcast, which was like 2 years ago, I was like, oh, I got myself very busy designing the room. And the once it got time, I was like, oh, it's like, I just put all this busy work designing the room and once it got time, I was like, oh, it's like, I got scared. It's like, oh, it's like, oh, let's just kind of put it to the side.
But you took that leap. I mean, and it takes a lot to take that leap and to, like you said, confront your fears. And
Yeah.
what better way than actually jumping into the water, not just getting your feet wet.
Yeah.
Actually jumping in, being like, okay, this is the moment. Let's jump on it. Let's do it. I don't care if I'm scared of it. I'm not in my comfort zone anymore, but I'm going to do it. And it takes balls to do that. I mean, it really does. So
Yeah.
kudos to you.
And it took a lot. I mean, I think things also kind of happened for a reason at the time. Like 2 years ago to now, a lot has happened. Like, and I mean in kind of like putting us in a situation where we're best in our mind and in our surroundings. And that hasn't been easy, right? Like it's just like when you talk about who you surround yourself around and I don't know how you see it, but like the way I see it or the way I feel it, it's the energy in the room. Right. So I feel like, just things weren't there. We weren't there mentally. Maybe I wasn't even. Like there was just a lot going on. And I would say right now it's not cleared, but at least we understand that it is what it is right now. And we are so good and so focused on just building, because if anything too, and doing things that makes us happy. And I don't mean just building as in, it's like, I mean, what are you going to do? Right? Like, it's like you either live in the past or you create, you think about the future you want to live, and then you start working on creating that future that you want to live. Otherwise, you'll always be stuck living in the past.
Yeah.
And then I feel like, growing up, I would hear a lot like, oh, where did time go? Where did time go? And I feel like I'm barely understanding that people don't know where time goes, and I felt like that forever. Well, not really. I've had some very good last few years, actually, but I had a really good years, but I didn't really know where that was going as how I understand it now, to where it's how you see things and what life you want to live. Because if you don't start thinking about that and start making everyday choices to live that future life you want to live, you're always going to be living in the past.
Yeah.
And I think I finally kind of realized a little bit in that area, it's like if you live the life you want to live, you will know where time went a little bit more in some sense.
Yeah. It's about getting on the driver's seat, right?
Yes.
Get on the driver's seat. Just live purposely. I mean, and it's, I mean, I say this, and I'm especially when life gets busy. Mm-hmm. I mean, you just kind of get into a rhythm, right? Mm-hmm. And life starts to get dull, and you just don't get to enjoy, and then you get caught. It's happened to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, recently, and you get caught up in this circle, and you're like, what the hell am I doing with my life? I mean, I'm working a lot. I am just not doing things that I necessarily should be doing, i.e., workout, things like that. And that's when it hits you. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I really need to do something. I mean, let's just do something different. Let's buy freaking tennis rackets. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's live purposely. I mean, yeah, still work, do whatever you need to do, but I mean, just enjoy life. Mm-hmm. And again, live with a purpose. Mm-hmm. And think about what you're doing. Enjoy what you do. Mm-hmm. And I say that, again, being a lawyer is tough, is stressful, but I truly enjoy when I get into, I don't know, have you ever watched Soul? Mm-hmm. The movie, Disney movie? Mm-hmm. No? Okay. Well, basically it's about this guy who, dies and just goes to the, to the other world, so to speak. And there's this scene where there is basically somebody who sees people through a different lens, and they sometimes get caught up in these really good moments where they're really doing something they truly enjoy, and they get in the zone. I mean, they just zone out. And sometimes when I'm trying to figure something out at work, this sounds weird, but I'm trying to break something apart, and then I start to piece things together. I just get some sort of euphoria, like ecstasy. It's like I'm doing this and it's working. Mm. Oh, I found this case. Oh, this case applies here. Oh, it applies there. Oh, I can do this. I can bring this. I can, it all starts clicking together. So I feel that as very rewarding, and that's what I really like about what I do. Mm. Otherwise, I don't see how, people could just live doing the same thing over and over, something that they don't enjoy. It's just, you're just, up for failure, basically. Yeah. But again, I think about that. I try to enjoy the things at work that I can enjoy. There are very stressful moments as well, obviously. As there is with anything. As there is with anything. But, the bottom line is just live your life and live with a purpose. Just be conscious about what you're doing so that life doesn't just, fly by, and all of a sudden, you're 50 and you're like, what have I done in the last 20 years, right? Yeah, and exactly. And the thing too is that if you really think about things, it's like there are so many things to be grateful for. Yeah. And even, it goes back to the simple thing is like, you don't have to have chickens in your backyard and have to feed them to be able to eat eggs in the morning, like, right. or worse, having to go and hunt your own or your next meal. Like there's a system, a very good system in a community that even if you were to hit rock bottom, you can't fall from the ground. Right. Like there's only one way, and that's up. And and nowadays, like there's just so much help, and I think there's definitely a lot of much better people than not that would be willing to lend out, like, and help out. I mean, there's people out there every day. Yeah, no, I think so. And hopefully we do better to shine more light on all that. But it's so hard because, I mean, you must know this better than anything. You're a lawyer, and so you see probably a lot of bullshit out there. And it's like this good versus evil thing going on. So like drama, you would say, all these issues, all these
back and forth and battles and like what's your take on the view on life? Like how,
I mean, there's always two different sides, if not more, to everything, right? So anytime I approach a problem, I try to go into it with an open mind, and again, do some critical thinking, and know that I need to do a little bit more research and take the extra step of understanding what the context is of whatever situation I'm dealing with. Because I've dealt with personal situations where, you know, you people can just listen to one side of the story and be like, oh, that's the truth. But you really have to dig a little deeper, and that just has to be done, I think, in all aspects of life, not just take one person's word and you know, again, like I said before, take that as your Bible, so to speak. So
how fair do you think our law system is right now?
That's a good question. I don't even, for once, I don't practice criminal law. I don't think it's very fair. I think it's very very skewed in a lot of ways, but I would rather not talk about
Not
that.
go there. Yeah, a can of worms, I'm sure.
It is a can of worms.
That's a crazy subject too.
It is.
You know, gosh.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think would like? Never mind. Let's not go. Geez. So okay.
No, but I mean, again, generally speaking, approach problems with an open mind. Know that there's always more than one, or at least two sides of the story. Think critically about that. Get your facts right, and then go from there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, one last question for you. It's I think everybody has different definitions of what their version of happiness is. What is your definition of happiness, or how do you
Have peace of
feel?
mind. For me, having peace of mind is a state of happiness. With all the craziness that's going on in the world, I mean, yes, I mean, you try to be as successful as you can, but all of that can fall just like that. If you have peace of mind, and if you have a family who loves you, and if you have that support system, I mean, that's the definition of happiness for me.
Yeah.
Again, you can have a nice car, you can have a nice house, but, you know, everything can, you know, excuse my language again, but shit can hit the fan anytime for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I'm just conscious of that, and that can happen, whether it be a tragic death in the family, God forbid, you know, something like that. But, you know, having peace of mind and having your family and enjoying your family while you can, I think that's the definition of happiness for me. And just, you know, I think you have to work to get to that peace of mind level, because it just doesn't come, you know, out of the blue, right? You have to work for it. I mean, you have to be financially stable. You have to have, you know, your support system in order to have that peace of mind to fall back on. You know, you have support.
Yeah.
You have your family members to fall back on
It's like a
support
balance.
emotionally. You know, just that, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's such a good answer, and I feel you there.
What is your definition of happiness?
My definition.
See how I turned the table? Huh? The interviewer becomes the interviewee.
Ooh. I think my definition of happiness is, I think at the end of the day, making the best choice that you can possibly make every time. And we make choices at every second.
Yeah.
Even, you know, having the choice of being here today. And going to bed and knowing that was the best. You did this. So every day, so back when I was at Monotronics, I had one of actually that was one of the jobs we had a supervisor, and he once told me that to see every day as like a shoe box, like a box of shoes, right? And the goal is to fill it up with things that you like and that you love as much as possible. So at the end of your lifetime, you want to look back, and when you look back, you want to see most of those shoe boxes, one being every day of your life lived full. And so I think my definition of happiness is always, and I anchor myself to this in every tough decision I have to make, or even not tough, but even like any sort, right? Is following and I think the only way you can feel if it's the right choice or not, or it doesn't matter how hard it is by doing what your heart tells you to. Sometimes it's easy, but most often it's hard.
It's that gut feeling. That
Yeah.
instinct.
And when you go to bed, and no matter how hard it was, and if you know that in your heart that was the right thing to do, to me that is happiness, because everything else is a consequence of that, of the choices you make.
And even if the decision wasn't, objectively speaking, the best decision, it was a thought out decision,
Right.
and it was the best decision at such point in time.
Exactly.
And you can live with that.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I've like been like, even like saying like to my mommy when they're like, when they say things, I was like, it doesn't matter if it wasn't the right choice. It doesn't matter if there was a better choice. It doesn't matter if you completely fucked it up, right? Because if you did the best thing you could do at the time with the information you had, with everything at the time, that's it. Like, that's all you need. If you go to bed saying, "Oh, I should have said no," or I should have, or I shouldn't have, or I should, like, yeah, like that just compounds into all these other different things, because now you're not in the right mindset. Now your kid may come to you and show you something cool they did, and you're gonna go off on them because they colored the wall, whatever. And now you're not in the right mindset, because in your own head, you're mad about yourself. You just take it out on people, but you don't know that.
Right.
In your head, that kid marked the wall, right? Versus if you are in the right mindset, versus you are always satisfied with the choices you make.
You say kids being kids. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just,
And they are. When you're in the right
Right,
mindset, you'll
exactly.
see that.
yeah.
You'll see that they're just kids being kids. I'm like, oh, look at you, how creative you're
Right.
getting. All right, well, now let's learn how to clean up now. No, you'll maybe get another version of yourself that's there, and it was born based on choices you made.
Right.
But you don't even know it.
That's true.
And
So-
and I say that because I've lived it. Like I've made choices that like I've regretted, and I've gone to bed and I'm like, God, man, like I'm such a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't want to be that
Yeah.
anymore.
So again, to recap, I think it goes back to critical thinking at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Think about your choices.
Think about
the facts being presented to you, and act accordingly. And if you do so, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm paraphrasing you. If you do so, and if you think out your decision is well thought out, and even though it's not the best decision, you made the decision with the facts at hand, and that decision is going to leave you with peace of mind at the end of the day, because you did the very best you could, and you didn't just, made a decision out of the blue without even thinking about it. So,
Yeah. And we know, I think we know when we decide, you know what, I'm just going to take the easy way, because it pops in your head instantly. And in that second, you have to decide, am I going to listen to that gut feeling?
Right.
Or am I going to find all these reasons to bury it and find the easy way out? And you'll know, because when you go to bed, Like, you can lie to anybody else, but you'll know.
Right.
You'll know because you'll remember the thought that the better thought came in and you pushed it away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a chemical feeling. No, but and that's when you start lying to yourself. And if you do that constantly, you eventually believe it. It's kind of like when you constantly tell you, well, I'm not that good. You know, I'm not an expert. I won't get there. But then, so you say it so many times you believe it until maybe you're hopefully fortunate at some point and somebody comes and says, hey, man, like, I see something in you.
Right.
And you kind of start breaking those chains.
Right. Well said. Very well said.
All right.
Man, it was a great time. I really
It was a
enjoyed
good
this.
time.
Good time.
I loved it. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being my guest. And I learned so much from you, even though I thought I knew some from you. I learned so much from you.
Likewise.
All right. Thank you. Until next time.
Until next time.
Whoop.